Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Lily, and today we will be dissecting
Saw 6 and Saw 3D, the final chapter.
Let's Get Fraudulent.
Saw 6. We pick up where we left off as Hoffman opens the walls to find Agent Strom's unrecognizably squashed body fall to the floor in a pile of mush.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Yeah.
When it fell to the floor, it was like gloop.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Mm-hmm. It's like one of those compressors where like people like the satisfying things.
Yes.
This was not satisfying though.
It's like when we were doing our mashed potatoes last night, and it's like the skin that's left over.
Ew! Ew! Oh God. Oh.
We then see a man named William, who is the head of a medical insurance company, very clearly corrupt as he turns someone away with heart disease.
This man turned him away because this other guy, okay. The man with heart disease had like gum disease from 30 years ago, and they're like, well, it causes scar tissue, which makes you more susceptible to heart disease later, so that means you can't be covered.
Which is not realistic.
No.
In any sense of the word.
No.
When asked who finds the discrepancies,
Quote.
within a client's application, we see 6 people that William calls the dog pit. Also, why the fuck would you ever refer to your employees like
as
that?
The dog pit, yeah. But then they pan over and they're all like going ham at the computers, like literally trying to find every single tiny
like the
error.
Tiniest of like loopholes that they could say just so that they could fuck someone over.
Mm-hmm, basically.
It's messed up.
Yeah.
Whose job is to look for even the smallest ways to not give patients money. Hoffman is called into another Jigsaw crime scene where the investigators still believe Strom is behind the games. The investigators lead Hoffman to Agent Perez, showing him that she is still alive, having kept her a secret so that they could use her behind the scenes.
Yeah. At Jill's home, she watches a tape of her and John at the doctor's office, having a sonogram of their baby, while she unpacks the envelopes that John left for her. At her office, Hoffman corners Jill, asking for the envelopes that John gave her, revealing that the envelopes hold the rest of the games Jigsaw had planned. Late at night back at William's office, the lights go out, and he's captured by a pig person, waking up to find himself in a trap. William must complete a series of traps in under an hour or never see his family again. Another man that works for William is also set up in the same trap, where both must refrain from breathing or be crushed to death. William passes the test, but his worker, who is an older man with lung problems, dies.
Man, that just sucks.
Yeah.
That was a harsh.
Mm-hmm. He was like screaming at him. He was like, don't breathe. And then you just slowly watch the metal things like make his ribs go pop.
Yeah. In the next trap, William finds 2 more of his colleagues, a healthy younger man with no relatives and a diabetic older woman with a family. William must choose who to save. Going against his policy of saving the healthy people, he saves the older woman as the young man falls off of a platform and is hung by barbed wire.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A mother and her son are trapped in a cage with 2 levers that read live and die, with the same countdown as William. In the room over, a journalist named Pamela is in the same situation. In a flashback, we see John, Hoffman, and Amanda working together on Jeff's trap when Jill comes in to speak to John. He gives her a key and tells her she'll know what to do with it in time.
We discover that John was a client of William's that he turned away because of a probability formula that he created that basically helped the healthy and turned away the sick.
Which is so fucking counterintuitive to health insurance.
No, it is. He's like, oh, well, we go based off of, like, health and,
you want people who are not healthy because then they're using your health insurance.
Yeah, because they're talking about, like, the potential of them being sick and, like, looking at their past and if they are good candidates.
It's just so stupid.
It's like, what? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, William continues through his game to find the lawyer from his firm attached to a device that will stab her in the brain if she doesn't cross the room within a minute. There's a catch, as there are many obstacles in her path that William can help her with. After receiving many burns, i.e. all the obstacles, both make it to the end, where the key to her device has been sewn shut inside William's torso.
Yeah.
The lawyer does not wait for William to get it out,
Yeah.
as she tries to kill him for the key. However, the timer runs out and she is killed.
Well, yeah, because she attacked him instead of just letting him get it out himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she, like, fell down into the burning stuff.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of steam. Tough.
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead. The investigators call Hoffman in again to show him fingerprints from Strom they found at one of the jigsaw scenes. There is a problem with the print, however, with traces of Freon, as they also share that they are trying to unscramble one of the jigsaw tapes to find out whose voice is behind it, since it doesn't match John's voice. William moves on to the next test, where he finds all of his colleagues from the dog pit strapped to a small children's carousel from a playground. William must choose to save only 2 out of the 6 people by pressing a button in the box that punctures his hand and prevents a shotgun from shooting his colleagues. They all beg for their lives and try to barter with William, who ends up saving 2 women, as the rest of his colleagues get gunned down.
Man, they were really begging.
They were like, you saw the conniving nature of these people
One
real
of them
fast.
genuinely was like, I have a family. Like, I had, like, does have a family. And then there was another lady who was like, I'm pregnant, after she heard that. Totally lying.
Yeah.
And then all the guys were like, well, shit. And then once he chose to save the 2 girls, there was still one guy left who was just like, you are a fucking pussy and your formula's a sham, and was just screaming at him and was like, look at me when you kill me. And it was crazy.
Yeah, it was intense.
The investigators all stand around the computer as they try to find the real voice on the tape, while they also discover that the residue on Strom's fingerprint means he was already dead.
Yeah.
The second Hoffman's voice is revealed, he stabs everyone in the office, and Perez tells him that everyone knows that he is Jigsaw.
That was an intense little scene.
Yeah, he stabs one guy in the neck.
Massacres them motherfuckers.
Yeah, and then guts Perez. Like, literally just like, yeah, it was crazy. Hoffman lights the office on fire and lets his colleagues and the evidence burn. In another flashback, we find out that the man who was involved in killing Jill's baby was working with Amanda to steal the drugs from her office, and that Hoffman was using this information to blackmail her.
Yeah. Some wild shit.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit going on there. William makes it to the final room, where we discover that Pamela, the woman in one of the cages, is his sister, while the mother and son were the family of the man with heart disease that ended up dying. The son ends up pulling the lever that kills William by sending spikes into his body that fill him with acid gruesome.
Oh,
Gruesome
you
and
just
gross.
watch him melt.
The man melts, causing him to dissolve from the inside out. He was a goopy mess. That was gross. That was gross. Meanwhile, we find out that Jill had one more envelope that she did not give to Hoffman, where she used the key from John to open the box, which ended up being his test. Jill puts the jaw trap on Hoffman as he struggles to escape, but ends up using the bars on the door to stop the device ripping his cheek from his face, but saving his life. The end.
This movie was all over the place.
Yes, it was. Yes,
Oh my God.
100%.
I got whiplash. There were like 3 different plots happening all at the same time.
There's a lot happening in this one for some reason.
because you got all the flashbacks.
Yeah.
You got the
Lots of intermittent flashbacks.
Hoffman and Jill happening. You've got William and his stuff happening. You've got figuring things out about Amanda and Jill and Hoffman and
There's
finding out that
so
Lindsay's
much
alive.
shit.
It's like, dude.
For real. So this movie was released October 23rd, 2009.
Yes.
The director is Kevin Guttert.
I wanted to say Gruyter.
Gruyter?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Kevin Gruyter?
Sure.
Distributed by Lionsgate Film, Asmik Ace, Maple Pictures. Their budget was $11 million, and their box office was only $69.8 million.
That's low.
Noise, but low.
Low.
Noise. 69 noise.
okay, I got it. Yeah. I didn't realize until I was looking at you.
I
And
had
then
to
you said
repeat it
it
a couple times.
Yeah, just a little bit.
to get it there, but yeah. But that's really low for like compared to the other ones. Like even last episodes was higher, and they were both like duddles.
No, for sure. So, this movie's only an hour and a half long, 90 minutes, and it got. I think this is one of the higher ones we've had. But despite the box office, it got like a 39% on Rotten Tomatoes. I mean,
I love how like that's pretty high
for a Saw movie. Yeah.
Damn, man.
Yeah. But
Wild shit.
Yeah, for sure. We've got our main actors. Tobin Bell as Jigsaw. We've got Costas Mandylor as Mark Hoffman. We have Betsy Russell as Jill Tuck. Shawnee Smith, Amanda Young. We've got Peter Outerbridge as William Easton. Athena Karkanis as Lindsay Perez. There's a whole bunch of people in this freaking
There's
movie.
a fuck ton of people.
Spit some facts on me.
Alrighty. So it's kind of funny because the character of John and just Jigsaw in general is being referred to as the little slasher that could, because he just won't stop killing people even though he died 3 movies ago.
Right? Yeah.
3 movies ago now. And it just keeps getting longer from that point. It gets even longer in the fucking next episode.
Oh, yeah.
Shit. So this movie focuses on Jigsaw's apprentice, which is Hoffman and all of his corruptness.
Yep.
And so the Saw series is nothing if not complex. And this installment ties in characters and details from all 5 previous movies. It is a little, more complicated and more evolved, I guess, a little bit than your average torture film. Because its storyline is okay. It's not terrible. It's not like the worst possible thing.
I mean, it's still not my favorite.
Definitely not.
Because at this point, it's kind of where you go, okay, we get it.
I mean, but it does explain a little bit, again, the nature of like him, John going from being a successful engineer to being someone who becomes this kind of like ruthless killer. in a way. So apart from whether you like what he does or not, he has a number of complaints about the world and the human condition.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't just complain, he obviously does something about it. So in that way, John's character kind of does what society doesn't do. Because usually just us as people, we complain about it, but we don't do anything about it.
Right. Which is true. Which is so
very true.
But it's also so frustrating because if anybody has the power to do things, it's the generation of technology, because we can all contact each other and be like, all right, here's what we're going to do to fix it.
Yeah.
But nobody really cares. So,
yeah. So obviously all of his inventions and his mentality towards things has springboarded the story to where it is now. He's seen as a philosopher, as he's very well educated, interested in society. But obviously he thinks the world is going to hell in a handbasket, mainly because it used to be survival of the fittest, and it's now become survival of the mediocre.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's disturbed by it. And it all has to do with the quality of the material. So most people tend to take things like one film at a time. And even Tobin Bell himself will take each film at a time. So if it's something that he believes can be kept interesting, he'll be interested in continuing to create the story behind, Jigsaw, because the character of Jigsaw is got a lot of dimension behind him. He's a very interesting kind of complex character when you think about it.
No, absolutely.
Because even with the fact that there's 10 films, we still don't 100%, we understand some of it.
What I don't necessarily understand is how there are all these people that he wanted to get revenge on.
Yeah.
So why didn't he just do that? And never mind, I answered my own question in my head while I was asking this.
Yeah.
There are so many people that he wants to, no, because it still doesn't make sense. Again, many people, revenge. Why not just get that all out of the way first and then do all these other people that you know.
He's very reactionary.
That's what I'm saying.
Also, he's very...
The second that somebody screws him over, it seems like he does something about it, but these insurance people screwed him over a very, very long time ago.
Yeah.
So...
But you also have to remember, there's an inciting incident that then threw him into Jigsaw, which was the baby.
Yeah.
So the insurance thing could have happened well before the baby.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the games.
That's what I'm saying. The point is that he didn't have revenge on those people or didn't think about that till post that unlocking in his mind.
Yes. What I'm trying to say, I don't think I'm really getting this clear. The second that the people with his cancer operation in 10 screwed him over, he got revenge that second. So why didn't he go and take all the people that had done something to him and done those first before going into these other people?
So, okay.
Because, if you don't want to get caught, yeah, you spread it out, but he is known. People know that John Kramer is Jigsaw, so...
No. So here's part of the problem, is that it's not instantaneous that they find out that Jigsaw is John Kramer.
It's a couple movies in. That's not but far into the series.
But also you have to think, they didn't think that this movie would go to 10 films. So there's a very different,
I guess
because we're also putting the fact that 10 is technically 2. You have to remember
Yeah.
that there's like a totally different lineup of films that the normal average Saw goer as the movies came out witnessed.
What I'm just saying is that the order feels kind of weird.
I mean, because you have to think, okay. The first one, he got revenge. Because even the thing, it's not a revenge film.
But it is.
It is. It's 100% a revenge film, but in Kramer's mind, it's not revenge.
Yeah.
So you have to think about it in the sense of how the character sees it. Like, as an average movie person, like, yes, these are gore exploitation revenge films.
Mm-hmm.
So, because not all of them, like, even the very first Saw film wasn't, like, gratuitous with the gore, necessarily.
No, not at all.
Speaking.
There was hardly any.
Yeah, like, the most gory thing that happened was the foot.
Yep.
So, he went after the doctor that basically was like, fuck you, you got cancer.
Yeah.
Then he went after the kid who was sent to stalk him, to out him for being in
An affair.
an affair.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's like, you have to probably remember and realize that Kramer probably has like ADHD to some degree. He's got the like,
yeah. Okay.
almost a guarantee. He's like, this person fucked up. We'll just put them together because they're connected together anyway.
Yeah, but
like,
not all games are connected. So I guess it's just whatever's convenient at that time and how long
and
it
it's not
takes
even
to set
just
things
that.
up.
He has to. Yeah, it's like these traps are so premeditated.
Mm-hmm.
So he finds targets. So he might find a target from his past and go, okay, what are other people that are around them that also are fucking up?
Mm-hmm.
Because he usually makes it so that everyone that's in a trap is connected in some way. Like, no matter what.
Yeah, unless it's like a
they're
single person
connected.
trap.
Well, yeah, but like 90% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
they know each other.
Yeah. Or are
involved some way.
even if they don't know it.
So there's always that level of like, he's thinking that far ahead where he's making sure that everyone involved is connected to some degree to each other, but had a significant effect on whatever was going on.
Mm-hmm. I also want to know how this man knows about so many abandoned buildings.
You know,
Are there really that many?
you'd be freaking shocked how many abandoned buildings there are. Especially because I don't think we ever really figured out, like, is it LA?
Honestly,
I don't know.
Don't know.
I don't know if there's like a specific city
Let's find out.
that they're in. I would assume it's probably either like LA or New York, something like that.
For me, I thought it was like a New York type. So hold.
Because there's definitely, like, clearly they're in a city. So cities tend to have a lot of like abandoned buildings and other stuff like that. So I'm not 100% surprised by it.
New Jersey.
Okay, so New Jersey. Gotcha. Okay.
Based on like, it says that based on like license plates and other things.
Gotcha. So it's a New Jersey based set of films. So that makes sense now. Okay. But like, yeah, so it's around a city. So yeah, there's a lot of abandoned buildings and things like that. So, but yeah, so the director, Kevin takes up the reins of the series, and at this point he's primarily been an editor where he's been working on every entry of the Saw series up until now. But then he became involved in becoming the director of it. So obviously the screenplay was written by the team of Marcus Dustin and Patrick Melton. Gruyter attempts to somehow extend the legacy of Jigsaw, aka John Kramer,
Yeah.
into another film.
How everybody wants to.
Yeah. It aims essentially, this film has a lot of like, you know, shock, horror, disgust. The first trap involving this film's main character, the seedy insurance agent. But the graphic nature of the entire scene opted not to be too extreme. The most that they get is like a little splash of blood in that scene. Like it's not...
Wait, which one?
The very first, like the breathing one. It's not overtly...
Oh. No,
gory.
you just see like a little blood on the guy's
exactly.
chest.
So
Like
it's
it probably
not like
cracked from
extreme.
within.
Because the last couple of movies haven't really been the gore exploitation. Not to its fullest extent as like
You
maybe
said
the first
last
couple.
two? So you're talking about...
Like the last couple, they've been more in that detective.
There's so many movies.
Vein.
I'm forgetting what the last ones were. Hold.
The last ones had to do with like, you know, more of the Hoffman stuff. It's just like they weren't as extreme, obviously. A lot of people saw them as straying from the torture porn or gore exploitation
Okay.
nature. But obviously they still gave us like some creepy traps, which worked effectively without needing to go for complete blood and gore, is something rare at the tail end of the Saw series, which is so funny. People thinking this was the tail end of the series. But there's also same mentality as what you were having. There's just so many fucking things happening.
Yeah.
There's so many. The back and forth between plots is meant to be intriguing and intense, when in reality it only serves to make it a jumbled up sequence in the franchise rather than something well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
It just jumps around too much.
Doing this podcast and going through the movies and looking at all the things, like deep diving into them, I hate to say it, but I was a really big Saw fan. And I think after doing this
I
for
just
a
like
while,
10.
yes, I find that 10 is the only one that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I could watch 10 and that's all I need.
Yeah.
Everything else is tired.
Like the first one's fine. I would say 10. I'd say the first one and 10 are good.
So the first two, basically?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The first one and the most recent one.
Yeah. Even though the first one is still kind of...
Yeah, but it's also the birth of the story, so it's like a totally different feeling from the rest of the future ones.
For
that
sure.
Just like...
But John Kramer's not in it, and that's why I'm like, meh.
I know.
But that's just me. I like John. Say what you will.
Yeah. John's
Not what he does.
John's a good character.
He's a good character.
He's a good character. And Tobin Bell does real justice by that character.
I feel like without... Yes, he's Jigsaw, and yes, it's John Kramer, but I feel like Tobin Bell would actually be like a genuine guy in person. He just seems... I don't know.
There's the actual actor, he seems to be very, very nice.
Yeah. But most villain characters are.
Yeah.
It's really funny. You know, you get the craziest people playing the nice ones, and then the nicest people playing the craziest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I just feel like he'd be so nice and cuddly. Just give him a big old hug.
He got real grandpa vibe.
Yeah, he does. I feel like he'd smell good too.
Holy shit. I don't think I was prepared for that one, but like, go for it. Shit.
You would smell like, you know, like grandpa cologne, you know?
Yeah.
Like, or even my dad's cologne.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy. So,
yeah.
I don't know. He'd smell like Dolce & Gabbana, like blue.
He'd give like a good hug.
Yeah.
Like he'd be like, it's okay, all's good. Like you get that good grandpa pat.
Yeah.
Yes. For real.
For sure.
It'd be perfect. Now I want to meet him.
Right? I want to meet him too.
Fingers crossed he goes to a convention near us.
Imagine. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Go for it, girly pop.
Oh, that was all you had?
Yeah. I didn't have a whole lot of notes, unfortunately.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
The next one, I'm going to have a lot. But, yeah.
So what I did was I did a little research on the corruption within medical insurance companies.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shit,
Not
bro.
shocked. Dude, not
Okay,
shocked.
I'm going to give you the bullet points of some things.
Also, sorry if I sound goopy. I am fucking the pollen in Florida is unreal.
Yeah. Have we
I
talked
am
about this in the
oofy.
last ones? There's
No.
like layers of pollen on our
cars are like yellow. My car's black and it looks yellow. It's bad.
Mm-hmm. I got a car wash recently.
Same.
And a week or less than a week
Like a couple
after,
days. A
just
couple days.
boom, pollen
Motherfucker,
again.
just you could see a layer of it. You're like,
Yeah.
fuck, I
Mhm.
just washed the car.
So I think I'm gonna wait until like May to
Because
do it
also
again.
the weather here is just fucking psychotic. It just
Yeah.
keeps.
It was okay.
We've
so
realized it's called false spring or false summer or whatever the
Yes.
fuck. It's infuriating.
it is. There's I work at Volcano Bay, and the day I work Sunday through Tuesday, and on Sunday it was so fucking hot.
Yeah.
It was so hot. And then the next day, I had to wear shorts because it was going to be raining and like kind of muggy and
Yeah.
gross. And then immediately the day after that,
It's fucking cold.
it was
as ass.
freezing cold. So they
Yeah.
shut the park down. And it was like,
Yeah.
dude, I can't do this whiplash.
Florida needs to make up its motherfucking mind about what temperature it wants to be.
This is global warming.
It's fucking infuriating. Because the problem is that the reason why the pollen is so bad is because the weather keeps flip-flopping.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the trees, it starts to get warm and it's like, release everything. And then it rains and it gets cold. So it's like, let's not. And
so then
it's-
it gets warm again, and then it releases
just-
again. So it's
so
just back
bad.
and forth.
I have never in my entire life seen the pollen this fucking bad.
no.
We literally, it was nice out. Like, I literally started to get sick and the doors were open and we had to shut them because I was like, I'm not letting this get worse. And I look over and I could see, because I have, because I'm in my thesis stuff, I have prints. And I have a print for a different class as well. And literally across the top of the print is just a layer of
God.
pollen that came in through the open doors.
What?
Like,
That's
literally.
nuts.
So,
That's
like,
nuts.
having open doors right now and open windows is not a good idea. Because just the pollen is so bad. And because it's like dust, it just fucking goes through everything.
Yeah. I'm allergic to pollen and dust, so
It's unreal.
It's rough out here.
It's unreal.
Luckily, I've been able to be okay. I get sick for like a
Yeah.
little bit, and then I guess my body adapts to it a little
This
more.
is the first time I've gotten sick
Mm-hmm.
in a long while. And it's 100% because of all the pollen. And just like, also, I swear to God, some of these fucking kids in my classes, and also because of where I work, it's all a bunch of old people who have no concept of don't cough at people.
Wear a mask or just stay home.
You
or-
know, where I work is in a situation where we're a little bit hickish. They're a little hicky. And I'm just like, God, motherfuckers. It's a bunch of sick old people that like will cough onto the touch pad that they have to fucking use.
I
And I'm
wanna
just
know-
like, why are you like this? Why are you like this?
Based on that limited information, I want to know if our listeners are able to guess where you work. I don't
Oh.
know if you've ever mentioned it.
Oh, I have no fucking clue if I mentioned it or
But-
not, but regardless.
That's so funny.
It's so bad.
Hick and filled with old people. I think I have a
Immediately.
good, yeah.
You'd
But I already
immediately
know.
yeah.
But, you know.
But God, it's just so bad. It's unreal.
Yeah.
So it's that and then school, because we've definitely had some kids. We've had one kid in particular who has zero concept of don't come in when you're sick.
side eye. Bombastically.
He coughed directly onto my drinks one time. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I would have thrown them away.
I had to clean them. I had to move them and clean them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were new. And I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? Dude, really?
Maybe this is how you got sick.
No, it was a while ago that happened.
Oh.
But he also was sick. Like, a lot of people got sick again.
Mm.
And of course, it's fucking right as spring break starts.
Yeah. I haven't really been able to enjoy my spring break, though, yet.
I am forcibly working on it.
It's fine. Work things.
Yeah.
Must do.
But you're working
Important.
now. You're in a happier place with all of it. So.
That is very true. Let me give you all the updates. I've told you all that I'm a lifeguard at VB, Volcano Bay, if you don't know what VB stands for. And they had me out for a while on medical stuff. And they finally just recently moved me to lockers and guest services. Woot woot! So I actually get to be a human. I don't have to just stare at water all day, and that's it. I can actually interact with people, which I love. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Even though my training is literally during spring break, but you know, that's okay. That's okay.
It's a job. Eventually, you won't even have a thing called a spring break.
I know. I'll just take vacations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I want.
Yeah.
And then things won't be as crowded when I want to go on vacation.
Exactly.
Because I don't have to follow the break rules.
Nope.
But, yeah. So, and all of my supervisors were like, oh, I'm so sorry that we're doing this to you on your spring break. And I was like, no, don't worry about it. It's good to not have to do this during school so I can actually focus on it.
Yeah. Gives you that chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Fraudulent medical insurance companies.
Yes.
Let me spit some facts. These are more global facts. So all over the world. For approximately 455 billion of the 7.35 trillion spent on healthcare every year worldwide is lost to fraud and corruption. So that's about 6%
Damn.
of the money. And while it doesn't sound like a huge number, that's almost $500 billion.
Yeah.
Do we get that? I don't know if everyone can comprehend how big of a number that is.
That's massive.
That is a gigantic amount of money. I don't think anyone in the world has that much money. I don't think. Are there?
Yes, there are billionaires.
I know there are billionaires, but I don't think it goes up to $455 billion. All right, y'all ready for this?
Yes.
His name is Bernard Arnault, and he has $231.1 billion.
And he is the richest person in the world.
He's the richest person in the world. He lives in France. Right above Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Who has $196.3 billion. Yes. But no one in the world has that much money.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic amount of money.
Yeah. It's an unreasonable amount of money that's being lost.
That's being lost. So, and there's an organization for economic cooperation and development that estimate that 45% of global citizens believe the health sector is corrupt or very corrupt.
Yeah.
So that's about half the population.
And there's a reason we want universal health care, because this will be more realistic for the world because everyone else has it.
That's our new intro.
Yeah.
So it says that globally, still we're talking about global, 1.6% of annual deaths in children under 5, which is more than 140,000 deaths, can be explained in part by corruption.
Yeah, not
that
surprised.
is so sad. There's chronic government underfunding, insufficient regulatory oversight, and lack of transparency in government, which breeds more corruption and reduces the quality of the healthcare.
Yeah.
Which is what. Yeah. Public spending for healthcare is inefficient in countries with poor governance. Good governance, on the other hand, is vital for national healthcare systems to work optimally. In fact, the quality of governance is a key mediator for whether public spending on healthcare influences health outcomes positively. Many strategies exist for reducing corruption and making environments less conducive to malpractice, including, because, you know, there are ways around it, but it takes everybody.
Yeah.
So, including remunerating healthcare workers adequately financing the public healthcare system,
Yeah.
ensuring social accountability, which
Yes.
is, you know, what I'm talking about right now, and strengthening institutions outside the healthcare sector.
Well, yeah. I mean, even there's a lot of people. So when you go to the hospital, like everyone knows, at least in America, going
Yep.
to the emergency room is like the worst fucking case scenario. Like you do not want to do that because of how expensive that shit is.
Correct.
But there's a lot of people who have learned that if you request an itemized bill,
Yeah. Yes.
you will realize and can say, like, not this, not this, not this, not
Yes.
this, not that. Like you can,
Like, you can say, like, you didn't give me that.
and neither did you give me this.
You didn't give me this. I shouldn't have
So
to pay for that.
You can drastically
Mhm.
reduce the bill because they're charging you for shit that they didn't do.
Correct.
They're literally charging you for things that they didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go to the emergency room, ask for an itemized bill.
Yep.
Because then you can dispute the things that are on there that didn't happen.
Correct. So just be
And
mindful
they have
of
to be
that.
more honest, because if you're asking for an itemized bill, it means that you're asking for everything that was actually done.
Mm-hmm.
And you will notice that bill drop fast.
And all of this information came from the National Library of Medicine. So
Yeah.
it's like
Even they know. Fuck, it's a
Yeah.
National Library of fucking
National
medicine.
Library of Medicine.
And they know that there's like, it's fraudulent as shit.
I have a little bit more stuff that just kind of outlines globally what it is, but
Yeah.
I do have more stuff that happens specifically in America.
Yeah. Because we're the shit show. Welcome to the shit show.
Mm-hmm. So this one, it talks about, it's not really current, but it's still pretty recently,
Yeah.
and you know,
Does it say like within the last how many years?
it says in 2018,
So very recently.
very recently, well, 6 years ago, which does not feel like it was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
$3.6 trillion was spent on healthcare in the U.S., representing billions in health insurance claims.
Yeah.
And lots of those were fraudulent, although it is a small amount. It's still very pricey.
Yeah. There are some people who are like, for the same amount that it costs me to do certain surgeries in America, they could get a flight to, let's say, like England. They could get a flight, go to England, have the surgery, and have more than enough for whatever else and a flight back.
Yep.
Like, without question.
Than just doing it here. So I'm looking at the National Healthcare Anti-Fraud Association for this.
Yeah.
They estimate that the financial losses due to healthcare fraud are in the tens of billions of dollars each year in America.
Yeah.
The estimate is 3% of total healthcare expenditures, while some government and law enforcement agencies place that loss higher to 10%
Yeah.
of our annual health, which could be more than 300 billion,
Yeah.
which is about the population of America.
Yeah.
No, million. I'm funny. There's only 7 billion people. I'm thinking millions. Never
But
mind.
yes, it's
So 300
a lot.
billion, that's
That's a lot.
that's a lot. That's a lot. There are issues to fraud. There's obviously so many issues, but for employers specifically, healthcare fraud increases the cost of providing insurance benefits to employees, which overall increases the cost of, you know, business and all of these things.
Yeah.
For many Americans, the increased expense resulting from fraud could mean the difference between making health insurance a reality or not. So
yeah. Again, we need universal health care in America. Like, for real.
there are so many different like types of fraud.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole
You want to list off a few?
there's like 9 different bullet points here about things. So the one we were just talking about, billing for services that were never rendered.
Yep.
So they use patient information sometimes through identity theft, and then fabricate claims.
Yeah.
And then they also bill for more expensive services or procedures than were actually performed.
Yep.
So they'll call it, they'll give you one thing and then call it something else,
Yep.
making it way more
And that's why you
money.
ask for an itemized bill.
Mm-hmm. And then you also probably should talk about something if you can afford a lawyer, or even just somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
When it comes to medical practices, there's also performing medically unnecessary services.
Yep.
For the sole purpose of generating insurance payments, which happens way more often than you think.
Yeah.
Representing non-covered treatments as medically necessary. So it says widely seen as in cosmetic surgery schemes, which
Yes.
non-covered cosmetic procedures such as nose jobs are billed to patients, insurers, and deviated septum repairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also falsifying a patient's diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yep. There's unbundling, so billing for each step of a procedure as if they are separate procedures.
Yeah.
There's billing a patient more than the required copay amount for services that were prepaid or paid in full.
Yes, that's actually happened to my mom.
Yeah?
She's had doctor's offices that owe her money
Wow.
because they made her pay for something that she was not supposed to pay for because her insurance covered it.
Got you.
Like $150 worth of like money
Yeah.
back, at least something like that, like something around that range, because they were making her, because she didn't have any copay or anything like that, but they made her pay for her visit when she wasn't supposed to. So
Yeah.
they owed her money. So
Yeah.
it's happened. It's literally,
Like, I'm sure if you ask anybody in your life, something has happened to somebody.
oh yeah,
There's, because $300 billion, that's a lot.
yeah, oh yeah.
And then the last one here, it says, there says accepting kickbacks for patient referrals, but I don't really know what that means.
So it's kind of like
I'm a youngin'?
getting like a bonus for referring someone to someone specific. Like you get
Got you.
you get like, oh, it's kind of incentive. It's like, oh, if you send people to me, I'll make it worth your while.
Yes, okay.
Kind of a thing.
That makes sense. And then the last one here is waiving patient copays or deductibles for medical or dental care and overbilling the insurance carrier or benefit plan.
Yep. Which is literally going around the insurance.
Yes. There are so many things. This article is miles long. This whole article, if you want to go and read it yourself, it's on Google.
Yeah.
It just really talks about, false patient diagnoses, treatments, and medical histories.
What's the article?
It's from the National Healthcare Anti-Fraud Association. So it's just, it's called The Challenge of Healthcare Fraud.
Yeah, yeah.
And it says that, like, literally right after that, it says everyone shares the burden of healthcare fraud.
Yeah, everyone.
Because that amount of money being lost into the system.
So much.
And you have no idea where it's going?
No fucking clue.
Y'all should keep a tighter
leash.
Yes. And then there's stuff that talks about medical identity theft.
Yeah.
The physical risks to patients that fraud causes.
Oh, yeah.
So it's crazy. It says the perpetrators of some types of healthcare fraud schemes deliberately and callously place trusting patients at significant risk of injury or even death.
Yeah.
There have been many cases where patients have been subjected to unnecessary or dangerous medical procedures simply because of greed.
Yes.
Unnecessary procedures can result in countless irreversible outcomes, such as patients losing their ability to have children or losing full physical mobility.
Yeah.
Then there's an example here that talks about how in December of 2015, an Ohio cardiologist was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison for performing unnecessary catheterizations, tests, stent insertions, and causing unnecessary coronary artery bypass surgeries.
Yeah.
As part of a scheme to overbill Medicare and other insurers by $29 million. How'd you only get 20 years in federal prison?
Yeah.
That is so much money.
Because even then, it's still too light of punishments for certain things, which is still, that's the American government.
And then there's another case that happened. It's an ongoing 2019 case in So a Virginia OBGYN was arrested and accused of performing unnecessary surgeries on female patients to collect insurance payments. So many concerned former patients have contacted federal authorities that a hotline for potential victims has been established. So that's nice.
That's
but
good, yeah.
the fact that a hotline had to even be established at all.
I mean, you have to remember, all things like that and all safety warnings are written in blood. They're written in blood. When you like amusement park rides, medical stuff, warning labels, all of it is written in blood.
Yeah.
Someone died.
Yep.
For that to be put in place.
Mm-hmm.
So just remember that.
Yep.
Like something terrible had to happen for something like that to be initiated, which is ridiculous that someone had to die to convince everybody to put it in place.
It's insane. It really is. Oh, lovely. It also talks about healthcare fraud and organized criminal groups. So, in some areas, law enforcement agencies and health insurers have witnessed the migration of criminals from illegal drug trafficking into the safer and far more lucrative business of perpetrating fraud schemes against Medicare, Medicaid, and private health insurance companies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Enterprise crime, as it's often called, can be far-reaching and move quickly from place to place. In 2007, Medicare fraud strike force teams began to be established in various locations across the nation considered to be hotbeds of fraud activity. So, and then it lists those places. Strike force teams currently operate in Miami, Los Angeles, Detroit, Houston, Brooklyn, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Tampa, and Orlando.
You know, of course, there's several places in Florida.
Chicago, Dallas, Washington, D.C., Newark, Philadelphia, and the
lots
Appalachian
of big
region.
cities. Yeah, lots of big cities.
But it's crazy that 3 places are all from
in Florida.
So,
not shocked. We have
Miami,
a lot of
Tampa, and Orlando.
Florida is also referred to as like the retirement state, because we have a lot of older people who come to retire here. So
Yeah.
I'm not
So
surprised, because
people-
a lot
yeah.
of that's like Medicaid, Medicare, fraud towards those. And because a lot of the older people, unfortunately in Florida, don't pay attention when shit is not copacetic. They're just like, just get my stuff done and deal with it. And I don't care, and I'll just pay my bills. Like, you'd be dealing with a very different bill process if you were just paying attention to what you were, being billed. So,
yeah. There's so much. It talks about also like and then we see light at the end of the tunnel, because it talks about what can you do to avoid or prevent healthcare fraud, which is not a whole lot.
yeah.
It says some simple ways. So protect your health insurance ID card like you would a credit card. Don't give out policy numbers. Be careful about your insurance information.
Mm-hmm.
Report fraud. So call your insurance company, which, interesting.
Yeah.
Call your insurance company immediately if you suspect you may be a victim of health insurance fraud. It says that most insurers now offer the ability to report things like that through their websites. It says be informed, be knowledgeable about and aware of the healthcare services you receive. Keep good records of your medical care.
Yeah.
And review all medical bills that you get. Read your policy and benefit statements. Read your EOB, explanation of benefits.
Yeah.
Statements, and any paperwork you receive from your insurance company. Make sure that you actually received the treatments for which your insurance was charged.
Yes.
And question suspicious expenses.
Yep.
Are the dates correct? Were the services identified and billed for performed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Beware of free offers. Is it too good to be true?
Yeah.
Because most likely if
They are.
then yeah.
Seems like there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
But that's about it. It just says that offers of free healthcare services, tests, or treatments are often fraud schemes designed to bill you and your insurance company illegally. So,
Yeah.
serious crime, affects everyone, should concern everyone. government officials, taxpayers, insurers, premium payers, healthcare providers, patients. It's very costly. So make sure you are protecting yourself. It's just that there are so many things that you don't even think about that most people don't even know about this. About how
many different ways there are that you could be frauded.
you could be scammed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's crazy that, you could be jailed and put in there for just having a little bit of weed on you.
Yeah.
And these people are stuck in prison forever and ever and ever, but then there are real people who are doing actual damage to human beings and their livelihood, and they only get 20 years for $29 million.
Yeah.
Make it make sense. The system is broken.
Oh, yeah.
So broken.
Yeah.
And if you think you're not being affected by this, like I just said, everyone is.
Everyone.
Because $300 billion?
Yeah. There's no fucking way you're not being affected.
I want you to listen to this. 300 billion. There are 300 million people in the U.S. That's $1 billion for everyone if you aren't doing math.
Yeah.
If you aren't, that's crazy. That's a crazy number.
There's $1 billion that are being fucked over for every single person in America.
Yeah. I mean, the 300 billion is worldwide, but it's still
it's the equivalent of if you matched it up with all of America.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it says approximately 455 billion of the 7.35 trillion spent on healthcare annually worldwide is lost to fraud and corruption.
Yeah.
There's only 7 billion people in the world.
Because there's trillions that are being lost.
Mm-hmm. Explain how there's that much money.
Yeah.
I'm a little lost. The math is not mathing, because if there are only 7 billion people in the world.
Yeah. It's because the rich need to get eaten. Unfortunately.
Tell me what you were telling me last night, because I think the podcast needs to hear it.
What do you mean?
About how the rich need to start looking out.
Oh, fuck yeah. So it has a lot to do with so everybody remembers the fucking submarine bullshit.
What was it called? It was called
it's just so fucking
It was called
stupid.
Wait, I don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's called I'm sorry I couldn't give a shit.
Like,
that
I
you
really
made
don't remember.
Dumbass decision where you actually a couple of rich ass people spent an unnecessarily large amount of money to be screwed into, sealed into a tiny ass motherfucking submarine to barely be able to see the Titanic.
Yep.
To barely be able to see the Titanic.
Was it called the Titan? No.
Yeah, I think so. But it's literally, and then they got crushed because it wasn't.
That's not funny.
Sound.
I didn't laugh. That was really messed up. It's not.
No, it is. Because they're a bunch of rich dip fucks who were like, okay, we're going to do this really dangerous, stupid thing.
The only person I feel bad for is the son, because he didn't want to be there.
No, he didn't want to be there. Because the wife didn't want to be there. The wife was like, I'm not going to do it. Take the son. None of you should have done it, but you spent too much money on something so stupid that you could have just, I don't know, gone to a museum or fucking done anything else if you want to see the Titanic. There are better videos on the internet if you want to see the fucking Titanic.
Watch the movie. Watch the movie.
If you want to see it underwater, watch a video on the internet.
Yeah, or maybe work with actual professionals who actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, maybe like a real submarine
and
system.
Have special trained people come in to maybe work that out for you.
Stupid is as stupid does.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely one of those situations where they died because of their dumbass decisions. And the way that a lot of people were seeing it, especially there's a reason why the world is trying to ban TikTok. It's because TikTok is where people are able to actually express the reality of the world.
Yeah.
And that's why they're trying to silence it.
And you can laugh at TikTok, but honestly,
there's a lot of good
so
shit
much information, and you can you can fact check the things that people are saying, just to do a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
research, but like a lot of the times
They're very factual.
they're very true.
And so there were definitely people who were like, this is how you know when the rich need to start watching out. Because the truth is that when the mass populace doesn't care that you died and finds it comedic,
No, yeah. There were jokes immediately.
then you need to watch out because we no longer value your life. Watch out. That's the point.
Because you have made yourself so secluded and so exclusive that you are just a small amount of the population.
There are so many more of us.
You are less than 1% of the population.
There are so less of you than there are of us. And the truth of the
So-
matter is that when we no longer care about your lives, that's when you have to start watching out.
Because you clearly don't care about our lives.
So why would we care about yours?
And as harsh as that sounds, if you think for 1 second, I'm going to quote some Katniss Everdeen. If you think for 1 second that they will ever treat us fairly, then you are lying to yourselves.
Facts. Because there should not be billionaires and millionaires.
No.
They should be taxed.
Mm-hmm.
There are other places in the world that tax their rich, and it makes the economy, it makes society so much more level.
And it's
because they're
like-
taxed significantly. And that's the point, because they have the fucking money to be taxed.
And they want to say, like, people who make $400,000 a year should be taxed high. I mean, okay, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the top 1% who have millions and billions of dollars. You should not have that amount of money. That should be going to the people who work hard every day. And I don't want to hear that, oh, well,
it's
if
us
you
that make
wanna
it so you have your money.
if you want to make money, just work harder. Do you realize
That's not real.
that there are people who work 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs just to support them and like a
even
couple kids?
$400,000 is not enough money to survive on.
You said what?
$400,000, $500,000 is not enough money to survive on.
For the rest of your life? Like if you were given 400?
No, just like in your life right now. Like if you were given right now that money, it would not last you.
For the rest of my life?
No, it wouldn't even last you halfway into next year. Medical bills,
well, that depends on the situation.
expenses of home, like insurance. There's so much stuff that we have to afford and pay for, and they're all expensive because of those people. No, like right now, people can't be comfortable.
Right.
We can't there is no mentality of you can get an apartment, have money, get groceries, like be paid, get groceries, pay your insurances, pay your whatevers, and still have money left over enough to be comfortable.
I guess I will say, if we want to talk money, for me, just moving out of my parents' house and moving into an apartment and paying some bills, they still pay things for me.
Yeah.
So
you are not like 100%.
No, I'm not 100% by myself with this. Like I have support, thankfully. Really appreciative of that. But, you know, if that were to go away, I have no idea what would happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, you know, they help me with.
Because it'll eventually happen. It's just.
Yeah, it's just right
it's
now. Even though I have
the
a
thought
job.
process of it is, you know.
They pay my car, medical,
phone.
Like, they pay so much for me.
Yeah.
The only thing
and when you hit 26, you'll be on your own insurance, so you'll be paying for that.
So, yeah, it all adds up, really, because right now I'm only really responsible for my cat, my rent, my groceries.
Yeah.
And wasn't even my groceries at one point.
And not even your gas. You're not even with your gas either.
Yeah. So, it's crazy because there was also another story where, another story, it's just like there's an article, there's like a news article that talks about how people my age are going to college, getting the degree, putting themselves into debt, trying to get jobs, and then those jobs aren't even supporting them. So then they have to move right back in with their parents
because the minimum wage isn't good.
No. And
It's
people,
why there's a mandate right
Mhm.
now that every September the minimum wage goes up till it
Mhm.
reaches 15.
and people are like, I have people in my life who are like, wow, your salary is really good. I wasn't making that until I was like farther into my career. But at the same time, you have to realize that inflation is a thing. Prices have gone up significantly, drastically, like exponentially.
Oh, yeah.
It's gone up.
It's
So
bad. It's bad.
it's really bad. And okay, there's one video I like to tell people to watch, and it's a little dated, so that information is not even correct anymore.
Yeah.
But just watching it is still mind-boggling. It's baffling, and it talks about it's a video on YouTube, and it's called "The Inequality of Wealth in America."
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's actually the craziest thing I think I've ever witnessed in my life.
Because, like, okay, so I found this thing. There was something on Twitter.
Yeah.
That I came across. It's the myth of the hard-working American
Yep, that's
is
basically what
really
it is.
just marketing for the rich.
It's true.
So it shows a little, like, it's a little drawing. It says how rich people get rich according to rich people.
Mm-hmm.
A can-do attitude, hard-working gumption.
Right.
And then how rich people get rich for real. Merciless exploitation of the working class, birth lottery.
Yeah, it's true. You're either born into it.
Yeah. Or you fuck everyone over on your way up.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And it's so crazy to me because they really perpetuate that American dream type thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
No.
That's not real.
It's not real.
That's something created by the rich,
wealthy. Yeah.
the wealthy people to make everyone on the bottom, to make all the working class and the poor
Yeah.
of America feel like
Maybe
they
I
can
could get
make
there
it.
one day.
Maybe they can make it.
No,
but
because they literally stack it against us.
And the realization is it shouldn't be a dream
no,
to
it should just be a fact.
to be able to live.
Yeah, it
to
should just be a fact.
to not have to worry about what you're like when you're going to eat, when you can pay your bills, how much money you're going to make. We shouldn't have to think about that because that's not living. That's just surviving. And we should all have the right to live.
I am going to be 30 next year.
Yeah.
I still live with my family because it is not affordable to live on your own.
No.
And the truth of the matter is that at my age right now, I should be able to have an apartment,
Mm-hmm.
a 1-bedroom apartment if I wanted to.
Yep.
With a pet,
Mm-hmm.
with my car insurance, with my
Yep.
phone bill, with a job,
Paying for
my
groceries.
insurance, paying my groceries,
And
paying
then
my utilities,
and then on top of that,
have money over
so that you can
so that I can
enjoy life.
do things.
So
But
that
the
you
reality
can
of the situation
travel
is
and go out and see the world.
that's not
and
possible.
It's not. We can't even pay those basic things.
Nope.
That we need to live.
Yeah.
God forbid something happen because no medical bill. Like no,
Yeah. I mean,
No.
shit, even the thing that recently happened with you and your kitten.
I haven't talked about this on the podcast. I don't think.
No.
Recently, it's set me back a lot, especially with the medical stuff I was dealing with. But this kind of forced me back into going back to work. But I needed to. So I feel like I did talk about this.
Maybe a little briefly. I don't remember 100%.
I feel like I did. Basically, for Valentine's Day, I went to Publix. I made sure to get flowers that were lily free because all you ever hear vets saying is that lilies are the most toxic to cats. So I
It's
was
like chocolate to dogs.
yeah, I was like, here's some ones with roses, here's some azaleas. Perfect. There's nothing else in there, nothing on the label. Cool. I put them in the vase, I'm like arranging them. A week later, I left the house for like a day, and then I came back, and I really appreciate my roommates. They look after Topaz when I'm not there. So she was like downstairs playing and stuff, and then all of a sudden I see that there's lilies in the vase. And I was like, where the hell did these come from?
Yeah.
What?
Like, why the fuck?
Why are they here?
Your other members of the apartment also have cats. You would assume they would know that lilies are bad for cats.
Yeah. And then I see that one of them has been like really chewed up. And I know it's Topaz because she's the only cat that chews on things because she's a baby. She does that.
Yeah.
I think she has pica, but
Yeah.
anyway. And I freak out immediately and I take her to the vet and it's a hefty fucking bill.
Yeah.
Because they kept her for 3 nights.
Yeah.
They had to put a catheter in her. They had to do blood work on her. They had to give her some activated charcoal to coat her stomach. They were giving her fluids to pump her system out.
Were trying to get her to throw up.
They had to induce vomiting, which she didn't. So she ingested that whole thing. So,
yeah.
oh my gosh. I was a wreck for a few days.
Yeah.
But it ended up being like $1,500.
Yeah.
And I'm not working. I can't afford that.
Nope.
And, I wasn't approved for a credit payment plan because my credit is garbage. I'm 21. I haven't had a chance to really build that up.
And the pet insurance thing.
And the pet insurance. I thought I had gotten pet insurance. I really did. I really thought I had done that. So double check if you don't have that because anything can happen.
Yeah.
What had happened was that inside the bouquet of flowers I had gotten, there were these little buds that bloomed into lilies. Nothing on the label said that there were lilies in the bouquet.
When they should label every type of flower that is in there.
There was nothing indicating that they were lilies.
Yeah.
So, and they bloomed. They were tiny little buds. I assumed that they were also the azaleas that were in there.
Yeah.
And then they bloomed into these gigantic lily flowers. And I was like, oh, fuck. Because I really thought it was my roommates. And I felt really bad afterwards because I also put their cats at risk.
Yeah.
So it was just, it was a whole mess. And, as a college student who wasn't working, who
suddenly accrued this massive bill, this medical bill for a mistake, for an accident.
Yeah. And honestly, $1,500 is not that much.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't. That's what I'm saying.
That's the point.
In the grand scheme of things, compared to these million and billionaires, we should be able to afford
that'd be a drop in the bucket
bills.
For them.
Yeah, that'd be nothing. That's a Starbucks order for them.
Yeah. That's a night out. That's a night out for them.
That's nothing. It's like, why do we have to sit here and suffer so that the top...
Why is it that we look at that? Like, shit, even $40 worth of gas feels too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I see $30, $40, and I'm like, fuck.
And why are we forced to live like this when half of these people don't know what to do with their money and they're out here so bored that they want to make a submarine to go look at the Titanic? How is that bettering society for anyone?
Yet there are so many millionaires and billionaires who could, on a drop of a hat, do such good for this planet and refuse to because of greed instead of being seen as a hero. Because that's exactly what would happen. If a millionaire or billionaire stepped up and said, I'm going to literally solve world hunger because they could with the amount of money they have and still be fucking millionaires or billionaires by the end of it.
Yeah.
Refuse to be seen as heroes for solving something that the world needs.
Instead, they want to buy a bunch of mansions and yachts and planes
or
and cars and
spaceships
and submarines. Like, bro,
stupid.
Ugh.
If you don't know what to do with your money, do something good with it.
Yeah, it's
unreal.
I would never be a millionaire. I could make a lot of money, but I would never be a millionaire because all I'd be doing with it is helping out my family first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then helping the world. Like
even if I won the lottery, I already I would build my house, build a parent
I'd build a little
house.
community for my whole family. And, just a tiny one. We don't need a lot.
Yeah.
We don't need a lot.
It's literally, and then I would have amusement park passes and I'd just chill the fuck out.
I'd travel.
And chill out.
But you don't need a whole lot to do that either.
So.
For millions of dollars? Nah. You don't, yeah. Oh my God. Anyway. check your insurance, medical bills, all the things.
Yeah.
Hold rich people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
If we end up going missing after this, you know why. Because we called them out.
Yeah. So does this mean we're moving on to one
Yeah,
star
'cause
reviews?
I could talk about this for days. There's not a whole lot here. I mean, the first one says contains spoilers, but you know, we already did all that. So it says the first Saw movie was a wonderfully creepy thriller. What? With shocking twist. Saw 2 was acceptable. Oh, this is talking about, yeah. Saw 3 was ridiculous. Saw 4 was a mess, and on it goes. These movies just kept on getting progressively worse. I feel like the clowns who made these sequels missed the point of the first film, and somewhere along the way, they thought the whole point of Saw was to come up with new ways to show people dying in the most gruesome deaths imaginable. Even if it means expecting us to believe that an old man with cancer could build enormous, elaborate traps that never fail in massive, secluded buildings that he is somehow able to acquire whenever he feels like taking a break from dying in a hospital bed, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, keeps going. Aside from boring new killer Detective Hoffman, this movie is about some guy called William who works in health insurance and has to fight for his life through a series of traps, only to die in the most horrific death you can possibly conceive of the end. I get the impression that the filmmakers expect you to think that he deserved it because he did his job and followed his company's policy? Even if he had done something bad, that's not even the point of the traps. Whatever happened to the whole thing about Jigsaw testing people's will to live because they don't appreciate their lives? Whatever. The first Saw movie is classic. I'm just going to forget that all the sequels exist now.
Well, it's because he doesn't appreciate life, period.
Yes. It doesn't mean it's just his life, but anyone.
It's why he's not the one that's being completely tortured. It's he has to make the choice on someone else's life, and he's essentially going against his own policies.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
The next one says, this movie is not scary. There's a short film that the first Saw is based on. Saw the short film is scary. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5, 7, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 5, 6, 5.
What the fuck?
4, 3, 5 times better than this crap.
What the fuck did you just...
That's not a real number. I can't say that's just not a number. So I just said the numbers. There's a whole bunch. Saw is a better movie, and that was awful. Saw 2 is a better movie, and that was awful. Saw 3 is a better, and that was awful. Saw 4 is a better movie, and that was awful. Saw 5 is a better movie, and that was awful. This movie has an awful storyline. It is badly edited. There are dead bodies. It two places at the same time. This movie has an awful ending. Do not see this movie. Do not waste your money. Do not waste your time. This movie is not for people who like a real scary movie. It is for people who like to look at a lot of fake blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I will agree.
That was all over the place. God damn.
Yeah.
God damn. Yeah, no, I kind of be agreeing with these 1-star reviews.
Yeah, because the films, it's progressively just become more
It's making me hate
elaborate.
the Saw franchise, and I hate that I hate them because I used to really like them.
It's just because it's so all over the place.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It's so all over the place. And it's like, yes, although Tobin Bell is fantastic.
Love him.
And we love him.
Smells nice.
Maybe
I don't know.
they should have picked a different format for the character then. They shouldn't have given him cancer.
Yeah.
If they didn't give him cancer, then they could keep him as the character and it wouldn't feel so fucking like convoluted. Because at this point, they're just keeping the character in all of the films because without him, there is no Saw films.
So
there is no good context.
They'd given him like a disease or something that he could still live with, but greatly affected like his way of life, and then he still had all these like
even if it was cancer, but it was a false diagnosis.
Right.
If it was cancer, but a false diagnosis of cancer.
Mm-hmm. Then you could have kept him here for a while.
Yeah. Because even then it would still make sense.
Yo. And then did a twist where it was like the doctors that gave him the false diagnosis were also kind of giving him a trap.
Yeah.
Like, this is your test, dude. What will you do? if you think you have limited time.
But then that would also give them a reason for
Yeah.
the limited time frame.
Yup.
Because it's the idea that, like, you have 6 months to live. What are you going to do with that time?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, and then he finds out eventually that that he doesn't have cancer. It was a false diagnosis. Along with the situation with the child,
Mm-hmm.
it would explain why he puts a time limit on everything and says, okay, how
But
much
then-
time do you want to, like,
Yeah.
in this much time, do you want to live?
And then continues to just keep up
Exactly.
with his
Because it's still revenge. Because it could still be that everybody is still shisty. And
Yeah.
still making him believe that he has a illness that he doesn't actually have.
right.
I mean, we know that he doesn't care, like, on the level of even in the Saw 10, it's the idea that he literally saw a dude almost steal a watch and, like, built a whole fucking trap in his mind.
Yeah.
So clearly he doesn't care if it's directly something that affects him. He just now has the mentality of, you do wrong, I make you make a choice.
Right.
So it's still that same situation.
It's
It would just go from, it would do exactly what you wanted, Lily. It would do exactly what you wanted.
What?
He would, the first official films would be him going after all the people who did him wrong. And then it would transition to him going after people who just do bad.
yeah.
And then that would do exactly what you were saying that you wanted to have happen, which is like, why doesn't he just go after all of the people that do him wrong initially and then transition to that?
And then a good
It would make more sense.
close off would probably be like maybe him later in life realizing that maybe the way he went about things was not, because maybe there were just inconsistencies within each game that made him realize that the way he's going about it is not the best way.
It's not even just that. Even if you didn't want to, even if they did not want to give him a redemption arc,
Yeah.
because that would be giving him a redemption.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Even if they didn't do that, it's still the idea that he is lawful evil.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps picking assistants based on people that he puts in his own traps
Yeah.
that are just straight up evil.
Chaotic evil.
That they're chaotic evil and they do not have the same level of respect for life as he does.
yeah.
So it's the idea that it's, he's going after people who don't have respect for life, who are pure evil, and then we have a whole anti-hero arc going on.
Yeah.
Because instead of him just being a villain, he's now going after bad people doing bad shit. Because this whole time, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's going after bad people who are doing bad shit.
So then you would still have like a similar storyline, but you would be able to keep the main.
Yes, it wouldn't have to
Antagonist.
be constantly some other fucker coming in trying to be Jigsaw.
Because they're just
Because
doing
God
terrible
fuck,
job.
the next episode is a fucking shit show.
Which is a great transition into
Saw 3D, the final chapter.
we cut back all the way to the first film as we see Dr. Lawrence Gordon crawling his way through the house with his amputated foot. Then Hoffman escapes his trap and Jill runs away to the police and asks the new detective, Gibson, for protection for giving him Hoffman's name. In the next scene, there's so many things happening. We see author Bobby Dagan in an interview about his famous book about the trap he escaped from Jigsaw and how it changed his life. In another trap, we see 4 racists put to the test as one man glued to the seat of a car must reach forward and pull a lever to stop the car from running over his girlfriend's face, driving and ripping the chains from his friend's body as the car drives away and into another one of his friends. The man does not complete the task, causing him and all of his friends to die as the car drives forward and then flings him out of the windshield, killing him.
Is that really a loss?
No.
No.
Racists.
Not a loss. Not even the slightest concept of a loss.
No. If they had lived, though, I hope they had all learned their fucking lesson. Come on.
We don't got time for that shit.
No racists. No racists. The racist in here.
Ain't got time for that bullshit.
Our new intro. You've got a couple.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say Dagon, and I'm like, no, that is a elder god.
That feels like a sexual thing.
Dagon is an elder god deep horror. He is on the same levels of Cthulhu, and I'm like, not
Hot.
Dagon.
Hot.
Not Dagon.
Honestly, I see Cthulhu and it doesn't freak me out. Kind of turns me on a little bit.
You're an Elithid lover. Gotcha.
No. Not these weird, like, creatures from another planet. Just kidding. If an alien ever came down here, I would say, you're mine. Let's go. Let's go live a happy life.
Bobby Dagon.
Dagon.
Fucking Christ, I did it. And I literally just said I wasn't trying to do it. I called him Dagon. Fuck.
Maybe he is.
Bobby Dagon meets with a support group of other Jigsaw survivors with cameras to promote his book and discuss the trials and the strengths that came from their games. Yeah. Dagon shows the group his scars and explains how they represent his strength and how each survivor should have the same outlook and find joy in life, such as his wife Joyce.
She's his joy.
His joy.
His Joyce.
Because he's so fucking full of shit.
Little does she know that
Yeah.
he is too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And our main man's about to show up.
What?
From the shadows, Dr. Gordon sits obviously very unimpressed. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks, Dagon, anyway. The meeting is over and Dagon gets captured by a pig person.
What?
Police investigate the car incident as they come across Hoffman's bloody jaw trap with a sign for Agent Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dagon wakes up to find himself in a cage where Jigsaw reveals that his book is filled with lies and he never went through the Jigsaw game. Shocker. So you know Gordon was sitting there like, right.
Hell yeah.
Dagon's lifted into the air and must avoid spikes on the ground that will kill him. He escapes, but then finds a television of his wife stuck in a trap where he must complete multiple tasks in an hour in order to get to her. Gibson goes back to Jill to confront her about trying to kill Hoffman with the jaw trap, and keeps Jill in a room where she might be safe from Hoffman. Another detective comes down to reveal a CD that was addressed to Jill from Hoffman, who in fact does know her location.
Yeah. He's not that stupid.
No, he's probably tracking.
Yeah.
Back at the car investigation, an explosion goes off, and all of the police are freaked out. Gibson plays the CD where Hoffman asks for Jill in exchange for stopping the games, or everyone dies.
Yeah. Dagon continues through his games when he comes across his publicist in a trap. He must pull a hook with the key to unlock her from her stomach through her mouth without her making any noise, or her throat will be punctured by 4 spikes.
No.
This was a wild ass trap. Also, this man is a fucking waste. I swear to God. God, this whole scene is infuriating.
Yeah.
His publicist screams and Dagon manages to get the key out, but the timer runs out before he can unlock her, and she is killed anyway.
Yeah, man fumbled the key.
Man fumbled so hard.
And that's why.
He's just a waste, man. Also, every time she screams, he's like,
shut the fuck up.
yeah. Like, it's because the trap's got, I think he's used these before, but he's got like sound-based stuff. So like if it goes above a certain decibel, it activates the machine. I think he's done it before in another trap or something similar.
I don't know.
I
just want to let y'all know how unrealistic that is.
Yeah.
To pull a hook out of somebody.
From
way.
all the way from their stomach all the way up and out their mouth,
You are literally ripping them from the inside out.
they're
They
going
would
to
bleed
die.
out. They would die.
That was an unwinnable situation.
Yeah. I mean, she got out of it fine. Like, until, she was killed anyway.
Yeah.
But it's so unrealistic.
Dagan meets his next trap where he finds his lawyer, who is strapped into a device that will pierce her eyes and mouth unless he delays the trap for 30 seconds by lifting a lever on the device that will puncture him in his ribs. Why the fuck could he not complete this task? This is literally the easiest fucking task he could complete.
Yeah.
This is literally, he just has to stand up.
He has to stand up, take
For
the pain
30
for 30 seconds, and she would have been fine.
For 30 motherfucking seconds, and he couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? But, man, like, for real, it's not
No.
that complicated. It doesn't pierce that far. Well, the thing is, because he keeps fucking going, and he goes, and then he gets like a little bit, and then he stops, and then a minute, and then a minute. Instead of just
it
one
would
go.
have punctured him like a couple inches on both sides, but
Not that bad.
you're not gonna die from that.
No.
Your lawyer will.
Your lawyer's going to die of shit.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
And obviously, Dagan fails, and his lawyer's gouged in the face and dies.
I'm sorry, there was no way to say that.
No, it's true.
It's literally
Her
what
fucking
happens.
eyes get gouged out, and she gets fucking
Her eyes and her
murkled.
mouth. I'm sorry, but like, yeah. I mean, I kept imagining like, what if she just kept her mouth shut and like wasn't screaming? It was just like that shit would break through her teeth. So
Yeah.
she had her mouth open. I was like, that's probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was still gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
I would not want a hole right here. You know, I'm just gonna.
Yeah. Gibson has moved everyone to the precinct and has put Jill in a cell to protect her while they look through the CD to find clues.
I'm sorry, but I really don't understand how a cell with bars that you can see through
Yes.
is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But okay.
You know, there's only so much they can do, apparently. Gibson realizes that he knows the place that Hoffman filmed the video and goes to investigate.
Dagan meets his next trap, where he finds his best friend with a mask around his face, causing him not to see. Dagan must guide his friend through a maze of wooden planks so that he doesn't fall to his death, to get a key to unlock him before the timer runs out. The pair almost have it until Dagan throws the key to his best friend, and he drops it, causing the timer to go down and for him to hang and die.
Again, also could have been a successful.
No, it really could. All he had to do was move a couple more feet, and he could have just handed him the key.
Oh my
Could
god.
have just handed him the key. Why the fuck would you throw it?
Just scooch closer. Tell him to scooch a little closer to you. You scooch a little closer. You could have literally passed him the fucking key.
Yep.
And instead you thought, I'm going to throw it at a blind person
Dumb as shit.
and assume he can catch it.
Honestly, this is survival of the fittest. Dagan,
Is a dumbass.
he killed everyone there. Let's be real.
Yeah, because he's stupid.
Mm-hmm. All of these, well, other
Because
than
he
that,
misunderstood, like he literally couldn't comprehend how real fucking traps worked. Just stupid.
all of these seemed pretty survivable, other than the hook thing. But she was still alive after it, so I guess that was implying that she would have lived. I don't
Because
think
if
it was
we go
livable.
by Jigsaw rules, she would have immediately been rushed to the hospital.
Yeah.
But still, technically, it's not Jigsaw rules.
Right.
It's Hoffman, rules. And we know how that works.
Yeah. Gibson makes it to the spot where Hoffman filmed the video on the CD and explains to another officer that the location is where Hoffman killed a man that assaulted Gibson but didn't deserve to die. Gibson reported Hoffman, but he just got promoted. Isn't that what happens?
Mm-hmm.
While Gibson was transferred somewhere else.
Even though Gibson is the uncorrupt one.
Yes. Gibson explains that the man Hoffman killed was released from a psychiatric hospital and realizes that that is where the current game is being held.
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead. Dagan reaches the door before his wife, but must complete another task in order to find the code to open the door. The numbers have been etched into Dagan's teeth, causing him to use pliers to extract them in order to get the numbers. And I'm not going to lie, both of us were like, make sure you're putting them on the right side so that you know which order they're in.
Yep.
If you're going to pull them out. And this is the one that's really stupid because he just like rip. Like, I get that you're doing it to yourself, but dude, you like ripped through this one. Fucked up all the other ones. This one,
Yep.
without a question. Swear.
Like, your best friend?
Yeah.
Please. I would have tried so much harder.
Because even in that scene, it's revealed that, like, it's because of the sentiment that his best friend was making to him, which is why he started this whole process.
I thought it was just some random dude at a bar.
No, it's him and this guy were talking together at the bar. Him and his best friend were talking at the bar, and they were like...
I didn't realize that it was his best friend because I can't see his face because he's fucking blindfolded.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's chaos. The police arrive at the psychiatric hospital and find the 3 dead victims already, and hear Dagan screaming from pulling his teeth. A detective at the precinct tracks Hoffman's location to the auto body shop with the car trap, and Gibson goes back to find him. Dagan finds his wife in a trap where he must hook himself in the pectoral muscles, just like in the trap he lied about, and pull himself up to the key that will release her. Meanwhile, Gibson discovers that Hoffman has been watching the police department the entire time as a rifle automatically pops up and kills Gibson and his entire team.
I mean, he said it. He was like, give me Jill or everyone will die.
Yeah.
And what did you not do?
Give him Jill.
Also, I think it's crazy that there are still 2 more paragraphs left and we're still at the part where Dagan is putting hooks into his muscles. Anyway, so much happening. We get a flashback to the explosion from the car incident where Hoffman replaced one of the bodies for his own before the body bags were brought to the precinct. The coroner unzips Hoffman from the body bag as he stabs him in the neck and then begins to kill everyone else at the police station, eventually reaching Jill. Meanwhile, Dagan falls from the hooks and the hour timer runs out, causing his wife's trap to activate, where she is locked inside a metal cylinder and burned to death in front of Dagan.
Fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
That's a gnarly scene to watch as she just is screaming and burning alive.
Because he almost had the key, too.
He almost, but he also was fucking stupid because both of us were watching it and like, that's not deep enough.
Yeah. Yep.
Deeper, bitch.
Yep.
Like, I don't know why he thought to place the hooks in the same position as his fake scar marks.
Yeah.
Because, like, clearly you're not thinking about it. You have to go farther back and deeper in. Like, you barely had anything holding your ass in.
Yep. It was just like skin at that point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, he had some muscle, too. So, dude, go deeper. You have the ability. You really didn't care about your wife, huh?
No.
What?
Clearly.
Yeah. This is where she finds out that he's a fucking liar. Hoffman is able to capture Jill, knocking her out and hooking her up to the jaw trap. Her life flashes before her eyes as the timer runs down, and we finally see how the trap works, breaking her face in half as Hoffman watches.
Fucking gross.
Yeah.
Fucking
It reminds me of,
gross.
like, it's like the Beetlejuice.
Yes.
With, oh my god, what's her name? Start with, is it Betty? No.
Barbara.
Barbara. Yeah.
As Barbara's face, because she...
As she morphs it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminded me of.
But, like, way more gruesome.
Yeah.
Like, if Beetlejuice was made to be like a straight
Scary,
up
gory.
horror film.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, not with the comedy element in it. Like, damn.
Yeah.
Hoffman then takes tubs of gasoline, dousing the Jigsaw workshop
Yes.
and setting it on fire, destroying all evidence of the traps until 3 pig people come out of nowhere and stab him. You're so fucking excited.
It's the 3 little pigs.
And the fucking big bad wolf.
Yup.
The pig people unmask themselves, and Lawrence Gordon is revealed as one of the packages Jill received from John went to him, where he asked him to act immediately if anything happened to Jill.
And man, he did.
He acted immediately.
It was probably like, what? An hour?
Oh, yeah. We see a flashback montage of all the ways he assisted with the games over the years after Jigsaw saved him.
Personally, I wouldn't say he saved him.
But he did,
I guess.
because he rehabilitated him.
Yeah.
Sewing people up and setting up the traps. Gordon traps Hoffman inside the bathroom where he lost his foot, letting him rot and die with the rest of the bodies. The end.
Deserved.
Hell yeah, and thank God, Hoffman is fucking gone.
Yup.
Jesus Christ. So this movie was released October 29th, 2010.
My dad's B-Day.
I've already forgotten how to pronounce his name. Kevin
Grudert.
Grudert.
Yeah.
Directed by Kevin Grudert. Distributed by Lionsgate, Filmflex, Asmik Ace, and Maple Pictures. Their budget was $17 million.
So that's like the most we've had for a Saw movie store, I think.
But their box office is $136.2 million, which is pretty good comparative, to the last one, which was not very good.
No, 69.
And I will say,
That's over almost double.
I almost wish there was more of the Lawrence Gordon stuff,
Yeah, you only see him in like 3 scenes.
because
Barely.
I would have liked this film more.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I think I would put this a little higher. Obviously, next episode, we're going to have a ranked list of like which films we liked, just like we did with Conjuring.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it's mainly because of Gordon that I place this one a little higher.
Yeah. I say that too.
Because out of everybody, I think Gordon is the most similar to Tobin.
Yeah. And I think what's funny, you're going to be shocked as shit about this one. I'm going to tell you runtime first. 91 minutes, hour and a half. Pretty short. Still lots of shit happening.
Yeah. Oh, is the Rotten Tomato not
Ladies and gentlemen,
What?
I would like to present the lowest Rotten Tomato
fuck.
score that we have ever had with a whopping 9%.
Holy shit. Single digits.
Single digit.
Can you tell no one liked Hoffman?
Right.
Because every film that transitioned to having Hoffman as the main villain,
It just kept going down.
it kept going down.
Down and down and down.
The only redeeming quality of this film is Lawrence.
Yep.
Because he's
The
the
fact that he made
only
a comeback.
one that commits to the similar concept as Jigsaw.
For sure. Which is crazy. Because, okay, Gordon, he didn't appreciate his family
No.
until he thought he was going to lose them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it seems like he might we don't know what happened to his family. I wish we did.
I'm going to assume, so we know that his wife and daughter
Lived. They lived.
We know that. And now because of this movie, we know that he made it out of the trap. We get this really gory scene at the very beginning when he's crawling out.
Yeah.
Because he finds a hot pipe and fucking sears his gross nubby ass leg
Yeah.
on it to seal his
Cauterize
wound.
it. Yeah.
before John Kramer finds him and like rehabilitates him and like starts to teach him as his apprentice.
Yeah.
And here's the biggest difference is that I feel like finally John Kramer has found someone who is the most similar to him.
Yeah.
Because even in this film, when we first get to see Lawrence interacting with Dagon, you can tell.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it in him. That he's this, like...
He's warped and he's changed from the first one, and he's very clearly got some darkness now.
Oh, yeah. You can see the darkness in him.
He snapped a long time ago when he thought his family was killed. Do you think that Jigsaw, like, kept that from him? That his family survived?
No. Because that's not Jigsaw. He would never do that.
But he didn't complete his task. He didn't
complete his task, but obviously Lawrence is living out in the regular world, so clearly he would find his family.
Yeah.
So the real truth of the matter is it's not that he would keep him from it. He just pulled him into the fold and said, I see potential in you. Because in the reality of the situation, we'll learn some stuff next episode that better explains some shit later about everything. Which does technically, explain some things, but not enough. But it's one of those situations where there's a redeemed quality to some aspects. And I definitely believe that when John Kramer finally was like interacting and working with, because you have to think, in the reality, this is film 7.
Yeah.
He's been working with him since the first one.
Yeah.
This whole time.
For the past 7-8 years. Yeah.
So you have to think, there's actually been 4 accomplices. It's been 4 of them. It's been John Kramer, Amanda Hoffman, and Lawrence. But Lawrence is the one that's been kept secret from the other 2 this whole time.
Yeah.
So it's the idea that, because John already knew ahead of time Amanda wasn't going to last, and neither was Hoffman. He already could see that both of them were too corrupt.
Too chaotic,
and too emotional.
Yeah.
Too vindictive. They're both too vindictive. Whereas Lawrence is way more, like, if anything, I would see him less lawful evil as more neutral. Like neutral.
Yeah.
Like, I see him more along that line.
I see that.
So neutral evil, I could see him being. So he doesn't sway one way or the other, but the evil I could see him as being like a true neutral character that then became evil due to being brought into the fold.
Yeah.
Of,
because when he was a doctor, he definitely seemed very neutral.
He seemed neutral.
Because he didn't. It's not like he treated his patients terribly, but it's not like he treated them well either.
And I mean,
he was just kind of there to.
Even in the first movie, you realize that, like, when the kid was like tracking him, he was breaking off the relationship.
Yeah,
because he no longer felt comfortable.
Yeah, he was like, "Well, I have a family. I shouldn't be doing this."
Yeah, he was regretful of doing that. So it's that situation.
And he didn't want to kill Adam either. Like,
no.
He
was trying to find ways of tricking the system.
Yeah.
So clearly he has the mentality to work things in certain ways.
Yeah.
So it's less that, like, yes, he was helping out, like, with traps and setting things up and doing stuff like that. There was also this level of, like, he was this, like, sleeper agent.
Yeah.
Is how I would see it. He was this third unknown that was more in alignment with John Kramer's mentality in the end. So, because also you have to think, his family made it out, so he has, like, there's only so much, like, I understand sawing your own leg off. It kind of sucks, but you did get a fake leg.
I mean, it's what the saws were there for.
But
it's
it's
what the whole premise is based. Saw.
It's literally called Saw. Anyway, but like it's not like his family died.
No.
So
he didn't kill Adam.
And he didn't kill Adam.
I mean, Adam died, but that's not his fault.
But also Amanda is the one who really finished the deal on that one.
Yeah, but he was just
which
gonna sit
means
there and
Lawrence
rot.
would know that too.
Yeah.
Lawrence would immediately know that was what happened. So
because if you think that Jigsaw was not telling him everything,
yeah,
that man knew everything.
Yeah,
He knew.
Lawrence
everything.
knew Uritan. After, because you have to think, there's no way in hell Jigsaw already knew that Amanda was unhinged, and Hoffman was unhinged. He knew everything because he would have to, because he was his fallback if anything happened. Literally, Jigsaw had him in place to protect his wife.
Yeah.
So clearly, Lawrence was fine working with him, because Lawrence could have just said no. Like, you know that for a fact. He could have just said no.
I'm shocked though that the movie after that one
just
had nothing to do with Gordon, really.
You know,
well, it is the
mistakes
final
were made.
chapter, so it did come out in 2010, and the next one didn't come out for another 8, 9.
I know, but
years?
still, this actor still exists,
It's true. He might look
and
a little
he's
bit
still
older.
a great, and that still is fine, because then that maybe instead of origin stories, do like what they're doing with Spider-Man. It's the same concept. It's after time. They've already been this person for a while, you know? So he just took up the mantle. God, it would have been so cool to see Gordon, like Lawrence, becoming the new Jigsaw.
For sure.
Like literally taking over and being still upholding that same mentality, you know? Would have been cool. Instead, we got the next two movies.
I'm going to be so honest with you guys. I have no idea how I'm going to write the summary for the next one.
The next two movies suck.
Not the one after that. I mean the next one. Just because it is all the fuck over the place. I don't know
Are you talking about Spiral?
Yeah.
Spiral's a fucking
How
mess.
do I describe that to someone? Let's just say that there are so many time jumps, it's incomprehensible.
Oh, no. The one you're thinking about that's the time jump is number 8, which is Jigsaw. Jigsaw's the one with all the... Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's going to be the most confusing one to have to deal with. And I am so sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry if you've never seen this movie, so
sorry.
you don't understand what is
The
going on.
timeline for that movie, there's a strong chance we're going to have to explain it after we're done talking about it, because it is confusing.
Yes. We're going to explain it, so don't worry. We're going to do our best. But...
And fucking Spiral isn't great either.
No. But with that, I'm at 27%, so I'm going to tell you the main actors.
Yeah.
So that we can get this ball rolling.
Yeah.
Tobin Bell. Duh. Jigsaw. Carrie Elwes. Elwes? As Lawrence Gordon. We have Sean Patrick Flannery as Bobby Dagan. Betsy Russell as Jill Tuck. Costas Mandylor as Mark Hoffman. Anyway. Spit some facts.
Alrighty. So.
Let's go quick.
Obvious this film is 3D.
What?
So, because it's in the fucking movie. It's 3D. Shot entirely in real 3D technology.
There was only 2 things that were really 3D, but go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. So the filmmakers used the SI 3D digital camera system rather than filming it on set normally, and later transferred the footage to 3D. Which is what is usually done. They filmed it in 3D instead of filming it then transforming it, which became more complicated for them later. So all of the sets and traps in the movie were specifically designed to take advantage of the 3D technology. Notably, this movie was Grutet's first stab at a 3D film, which is very evident. It ended up being the most expensive film in the franchise with a budget of $17 million. Of course, there were some problems with aspects of filming in 3D, like how all of the blood looks pink instead of red.
Yes.
Which was a direct result of the filming process and worsened later in editing.
There was so many comments about the pink blood.
And that's because they were filming in 3D instead of filming normal. So, indeed, the combination of different 3D effects used in the 2010 horror film led to changes in colors. In several cuts, the blood showed on screen looked pink instead of red. This is because the fake blood used in the film was pink colored.
Interesting. Choice.
So it was pink colored. It was supposed to appear red in 3D viewings since 3D glasses darken the footage for the viewers. But the film's editors decided not to change the pink color to red for the home release version of Saw 3D.
Boo.
And then they never corrected it for the natural 2D view. So the pink blood element of the film is extremely noticeable and distracting because of the fact that it was filmed in 3D. Viewers often see the blood spurting directly at the lens. A huge amount of fake blood was used throughout the filming. Reportedly, over 25 gallons worth of blood was used during the filmmaking.
Which is interesting because there's not like pools of blood really anywhere.
I mean, that first initial scene of like the three people in that weird saw trap.
Oh, yeah. The one in public
was very,
that's true.
Very bloody. But the filmmaker's decision to forgo the color editing of this blood was a bad one, especially given the nature of the franchise and what audience expect from a Saw film.
Yep.
Like, come the fuck on. Why did you make it pink to begin with? It should have been at least on the red side.
No matter
even if
what.
it was a vibrant red, even if it was like a fire engine red.
Like, who cares what the 3D glasses do? It'll just make it darker. Like, who cares?
Exactly. So, the director itself talked about the fact that, like, why they chose 3D instead of doing it the other way. So, for them, the Saw movies have always been visually rich. So, there's always a lot of shit. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of dimension to the images already. And there's also a veneer of all sorts of crazy technology, all of the Jigsaw gadgets. There's so much shit. So it just seemed like the logical step to use the greatest cinema gadgets to enrich the film. They shot the film with silicon imaging cameras that were custom built by a camera company in Toronto. They're very small cameras that are paired together at right angles to each other with a big mirror rig in the front that combines the images. If you look at the rig itself, there's a camera platform that has the traditional mounting to put it on a tripod. But from there, everything is all clamped on. The viewfinder, the focus pulling device. The two cameras have to be able to slide apart and towards each other to adjust the interocular distance. The wider apart the two cameras are, the greater the depth is going to be in the scene. The stereograph adjusts the distance in real time with a remote control device. And then there are guys who control the focus on both of the cameras. All these things are various servos and gadgets that are strapped onto the rig itself. It is very unwieldy, but because of the technology, it's also viewed as very elegant at the same time. So the real nice thing about it is that the cameras are small enough that they were able to actually hand hold the camera itself for shooting. So they shot the whole film in handheld.
Wow.
So traditionally, when you shoot 3D movies on film, the two 35mm cameras were very heavy and could only be used on a dolly or a crane.
Yeah.
But with this rig, they were able to shoot almost 3/4 of the movie handheld.
Wow.
Which was a major boon to keeping the style of the Saw movies intact while in 3D. They talked about the fact that it was pretty crazy because it was a calculated risk to do so, because much of the handheld film style, because the 3D can make some people very queasy or give them a lot of eye strain, which, as someone who does have that happen, I do not really enjoy 3D films as much, because I usually come out of there with like a headache or my eyes hurt. I'm not that big of a fan of 3D films. And I also, like, sometimes for me, 3D is not always as fantastic. Like, I feel like there's a level of perfection that it's not at.
And it, like, 10 minutes in, your eyes have adjusted and it's no longer 3D.
Exactly.
Like, you're just watching a movie at that point.
Yeah.
So
at first, they were very skeptical that they would be able to make it feel like a Saw movie, because that whole franchise has very rapid editing. They found out that it actually worked pretty well. The film isn't quite as the same crazy MTV pace as some of the other Saw films, but it's still cut very fast. And again, it was his first 3D film. There was obviously a learning curve in a lot of ways. It's very tricky when you're composing a shot and you're trying to trick your brain in a way that is kind of like real life. But at the same time, it's crazy. So you've got both cameras looking at a subject. So this is a good example. So you have both cameras looking at a subject, and there's a very bright sheen on the side of the person's arm that only one camera can see.
Yeah.
There's a good chance that when you look at a composite of the two images, that the sheen will not register in 3D space, and it looks like a mistake. These things aren't an issue at all in 2D, but in 3D are obviously problematic. The opening trap scene takes place in a public square, where these two guys wake up in this display case for a fictitious tool company called Vault Hammer. And there's a crazy trap saw that Jigsaw has modified to have 3 different circular saw blades running at once. It was a really elaborate prop to create, and it was essentially real. But obviously they had to do things to make it safe for the actors and for filming. But essentially it was real. The traps come from a lot of different sources, and the writers, the production designers, and all that stuff, the idea is that Jigsaw uses found objects in order to make his machines.
Sure.
So they always look like you took a piece of a gym equipment and the clutch from a truck and put it together. You know, even if they're not really those things, they try to make it look like any of the stuff could be built from stuff located at like a junkyard.
And I'm gonna have to disagree at that point.
Because a lot of the traps that he uses are stuff that's like cobbled together.
Supposed to be, but it always looks super elaborate.
Well, yeah. Well, you have to remember, he's an engineer.
Yeah.
Jigsaw is an engineer.
I do know that.
So
but I'm saying, like,
he's
that
able
does
to
not
make stuff.
Yeah, and make it look good. So I don't understand why they're saying that it looks like it's, just
But the
junk
point
scraps,
is
because it doesn't look that way.
It's stuff. It is because it is things he could have found at a junkyard. But he's built them in a way that is seamless because he tests
That's
them.
what I'm saying. So I disagree with the fact that they look like they are junk, because I think they look
it's not
way too...
Well, it's not. No, they're not saying that it looks like junk. It's saying stuff that is found in a junkyard. So objects, like he finds objects, brings them together, and makes this elaborate piece out of junk. It's not that the stuff looks like junk. It's that it's made from like stuff you would find in a junkyard.
Okay, yeah.
So, and they're right. All of his stuff has this very elaborate visual, but it's almost like you can see all the pieces that make it. So that's all I got. Lots of stuff about the 3D and the nature of the 3D work.
Lots of things. So for me, with the whole premise of the movie, I decided to talk about lying authors
Mm-hmm.
in their memoirs. I found an article, and I'm just gonna go off of this. But basically, it talks about 5 fake memoirs that fooled the literary world. Okay. So, here in this article, it says the past few decades have seen an increase in an entirely different category of memoir, the hoax,
Yeah.
where the truth, even if it's even present, is of little consequence. So, the first one it gives an example of is A Million Little Pieces by James Frey. He is a 19th century American humorist. His name is
Humorist?
humorist. That's what it says. Okay, no, it says that the 19th century American humorist Josh Billings once said, "There are some people who are so addicted to its exaggeration that they can't tell the truth without lying."
Gotcha.
Which I think we've all pretty much heard that quote.
Yeah.
So, author, writer, James Frey created his memoir, A Million Little Pieces, which talk about his struggles with alcohol and drug addiction. Initially, Frey presented it as a novel, but publishers developed interest after it was described as a true story
Gotcha.
to,
Boost sales.
yes. This book came out in 2003. It became a huge bestseller after Oprah Winfrey selected it for her TV show
Oh,
Book
shit.
Club in 2005. And then it quickly turned into a literary scandal.
Yeah.
Allegations grew about its many inventions and falsifications. Frey claimed he had spent 87 days in jail when he had been in prison for only a few hours. Oprah had the writer back on her show to castigate him for lying. So, in 2008, Frey did make a literary comeback and then had a best-selling novel called Bright Shiny Morning.
That's a real book this time.
Yeah, a novel, not a memoir. So, not nonfiction.
Yep.
The next one is Love and Consequence by Margaret B. Jones, which I think I've heard of this one.
Same.
So after James Frey came out with his, this one came out in 2008 about a part-time American Indian foster child immersed in gang life in South Central Los Angeles. So, which brought lots of publishers and glowing reviews in before it was discovered that none of it was true.
Swear to God.
Yeah. In reality, the author, Margaret Seltzer, who had just used the pseudonym Margaret B. Jones, was white, grew up with her biological family in Sherman Oaks and a Los Angeles neighborhood, and even attended private school.
Yeah, so basically full of shit and trying to take on the story and get credit for POC people.
Yep. What's crazy is that the only reason people found out was because Seltzer's sister revealed that her memoir was fake after seeing a profile about her in the New York Times.
Good.
Yeah. Seltzer then justified her deception. She said, and I quote, "I thought it was an opportunity to put a voice to people who people don't listen to." And then her publisher recalled 19,000 copies of the book.
Yeah, next time just make fiction.
I
It could have been a fiction story.
Right.
Instead, you decided to be stupid.
Right. This next one, a lot darker.
Oh, shit. Okay.
We have Misha, a memoir of the Holocaust years.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. By Misha DeFonseca. She wrote a book in 1997. She's Belgian-born and described how when she was alone at age 7, she found her Jewish parents who had been deported by the Nazis. She walked 1,900 miles across Europe over the course of 5 years and spent time in the Warsaw Ghetto, lived with wolves, and killed a German soldier in self-defense. Crazy. The book had limited success in the US, but became bestseller overseas and was translated into 18 languages and even made into a French film.
Oh my God.
Yes. 11 years after the publication of the book, an American genealogist brought things to life.
Yep.
She unearthed De Fonseca's baptismal certificate indicating she was Catholic,
Gotcha.
as well as evidence she had attended schools in Brussels during the time she was supposedly on her trek.
Yeah.
The Nazis had executed her parents, who were members of the Belgian resistance.
So that's true.
That's true. But she confessed later in a statement that ever since I can remember, I felt Jewish. There are times when I find it difficult to differentiate between reality and my inner world.
Then you need psychiatric help.
Yeah.
Because if you can't differentiate your imagination from the real world, you need to talk to someone so that they can help you get there.
Yes. If you feel Jewish, then you should be a practicing Jew.
Yeah. Yeah. If you actually respect the culture and want to be a part of the culture,
Yes.
then practice the culture.
Practice it and, be so respectful and learn everything you can. And,
Because there is, unfortunately, we live in a time where people keep referring to things as appropriation instead of appreciation.
Yes, there's a
Because
difference.
there's a difference.
There's a big difference.
Appropriation is out of disrespect. It's a disrespectful display.
Yeah.
Whereas appreciation is very different. I recently saw a video on Instagram of a little girl who was a little white girl who wanted to have her hair dreadlocked, like braided and all that kind of stuff. Very similar because she's seen black women and she thought they were beautiful and thought she loved their hair and wanted to look like them because she has a deep respect and love for them.
Yeah.
And there was a response from a black man who was like, don't appropriate our culture. You're a little white girl. Like, how dare you? And then someone else made a reaction to that and was like, there's a difference. That little girl views it as beautiful. She sees beauty and
she's
respects
appreciating
it.
and respects it, yeah.
There's a difference between appropriation and respect. Like, there's a level of ignorance in assuming appropriation over appreciation. People who appreciate other cultures and want to express that is because the truth is that culture is meant to be shared.
Yeah.
It is not meant to be secluded.
If you just keep things to yourself,
that's how cultures die out.
That's how cultures die out. That's how people are afraid of things that they don't understand.
Exactly.
It's why...
Make it commonplace.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows and respects it. There's a reason why we have so many different holidays during Christmas time, because there's respect. Like, shit, even where I work, they fucking have, decorative stuff for other holidays. And that's the point. Like, you have to be open and respectful of other people and their cultures. But the fact is that
you have to also be willing to share your culture and
also understand that there's gonna be fucking appropriation, because people are dicks.
People are, but you have to also know that not everyone is like that, and there are going to be people who love your culture just as much as you do and want that to be celebrated.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm sorry, yes, Halloween. Yes, there's going to be fucking Halloween costumes that are very appropriation style and very stereotypic.
Yeah.
We get it. It's a problem. Just don't buy them. If you stop buying those ones, people won't make them. The companies won't make them if they're not making profit off of them.
Yep.
Buy any of the other ones, except for the ones that are based on cultures.
Right.
And then that's it.
Right.
You kind of solve it as it goes. But the truth of the matter is just remember, there's a difference between appreciation and appropriation.
Do your research.
Many of us just appreciate.
Yeah.
If we're trying to, we want to appreciate your culture. And the only way you can appreciate someone's culture is by showing it.
Yeah. And explaining things and histories and, giving them information.
Yeah, it's respect. It's you get, if you want respect for your culture.
And why wouldn't you want people to know
exactly
about
why would you
where
not
you come
want
from
everyone
and what you
to
celebrate and
express your culture?
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then just like we said, there are cultures that have died because they just secluded themselves. And you don't want that.
And maybe some cultures do want that. Maybe they say only people who are born into our culture should have our culture. And that's their culture.
And there's some people who come out and there's even a woman that I remember following on Instagram that does waist beads. And she made a video, like, obviously it's satire. And she was like, well, I kept getting complaints because these beads, I'm only from now on going to be targeting Black and people of color because nobody likes seeing white people wearing them or anybody else other than Black women. So I'm going to remove all of the models that I have that aren't these colors so
Is
that
she
they
a
know.
Black woman?
Yeah, she's a Black creator.
Yep.
And it's even people who talk about bonnets. It's like,
no, bonnets are for all hair
they're
types.
so useful.
They're for all hair types. I literally bought one recently.
So good. I need to buy one.
Yeah.
Especially since I have a perm, I desperately need one.
You need one. And also, like, people who want to do their edges. Like,
yes.
Oh my goodness. There was this one video I saw, and there was this one girl who said she had, like, she was a white girl, and she had crazy baby hairs.
Yes.
Crazy baby hairs. So she went onto the internet, TikTok, I think, and was just like, I want to do this correctly. I would love some tips.
Exactly.
I feel like it'd be so beautiful. And she did them. And there were so many Black women in the comments just being like, you did so good.
Yes.
You look beautiful. Edges are not just for Black women. They're for anyone who want to just tame those flyaways.
It's so beautiful to see people sharing culture.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
It's like goosebumps. Like I have goosebumps right now just at the thought of like people sharing culture and style. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Every time I see Black women dressed up in their outfits and shit, and I'm always like, God, fuck, they're beautiful.
Right.
Like, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this again. Orange, seeing a fucking intense, bright ass orange
on a darker skin tone. Oh my goodness.
I could eat it a lot.
I love
so
jewel tones.
Stunning.
Like orange and like jewel tones. Like, oh my goodness. Just so.
Black women in like neon yellows and bright oranges and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, fuck. Stunning.
Yes.
Stunning.
Yep.
Whereas me, it kind of, at least yellows sometimes, it looks like I'm dying.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm dying.
We're pretty pale people, so.
Pale as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just inclusivity in every aspect of life.
Yes.
Makes life better.
And that's how, we stay nice and informed and just kind to each other and understanding. And it's how we have empathy.
Because the more we know about others' cultures, again, the
more
less
inclusive
prejudiced
we
people
be.
become.
Yeah.
Because, I know about your culture. I know about these aspects. And if someone is being prejudiced, then they're doing it on purpose. You know that it's not from ignorance.
Right.
If people know about others' cultures, then you know that there's no way in hell that they're acting like this, because if they're acting prejudice, then they're doing it on purpose.
And not because they don't know about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the less fear and attacking people because you're different.
Right.
So.
It's ridiculous. I mean, again, unless your culture is like, if you don't want to share something about your culture,
don't share it.
Don't share it.
If something is sacred and like you only want to, like, let's say there's something, because I know there's a lot of like Native American cultures that have very sacred practices.
Yeah.
Like, unless you bring someone in so deep into the fold of your culture that you are willing to give them that part of your culture, you don't have to give it to everybody.
No.
But like, just to be educated at least a little bit, maybe not the inner workings, but parts of it. It's still beautiful to know about others' cultures.
For sure.
Because then it enriches our view of you.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it so we know more about you and why you do the things that you do.
I'm in U.S. history right now, and we just did the whole thing about, we talked about the colonists coming over.
Yeah.
And just absolutely
decimating.
Destroying and decimating and just... Oh my God, the treatment towards Native Americans
should have never happened.
No.
Should have never fucking happened.
And in reality, the only reason, not the only. There are many reasons that they were treated that way, but one of the big things is that for me, it was like they called them savages just because
they lived differently than you. Fuck off.
Right. And they didn't have the same technologies as you, but
Who gives a fuck?
How do you think your ancestors were living before they had all of these things?
Yeah.
Do you not think that they were...
They're a functioning society.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
They are some of the most brilliant people ever, and they really care about the land.
Beautiful culture.
Oh my God.
Fucking stunning. Their music, their dress, their...
Yes.
Just love.
Yeah. That explains that. Like, we went to powwows for years
because they're
to appreciate, to
stunning.
go and appreciate and learn and
Like,
just be a part of the culture. And they were so happy to share it with us too.
Like, even my father, my father handmade me one of the necklaces because he learned it from one of his friends who was Native American. Unfortunately, a long time ago he passed away, but he learned it from him. And I'm like, I found that as such a deep, respectful thing, because we went to a powwow and we bought the bone and we bought all of those things, the tools that we would need to make it, and I felt so much pride and so happy about it, because it's such a beautiful piece.
And that's how you keep those things alive. Like,
exactly.
Native Americans are very few and far between now. Like,
and they've got such a stunning culture.
They do, and I wish,
fucking beautiful. Their spirituality is fucking something to strive for. Holy shit.
Yeah, they really appreciate the land and everything that they live for, and just the animals and the trees and the earth, and they appreciate their life and what life means.
Yeah.
And
the earth, fucking Christ. Does society and big government need to learn some shit?
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah. Oh. Again, we could talk about these things forever.
Forever.
All right. I have two more.
Gotcha.
Memoirs. The next one is The Autobiography of Howard Hughes, written by someone else named Clifford Irving.
Gotcha.
Clifford Irving received almost $1 million, $765,000 advance, and had delivered his manuscript of The Autobiography of Howard Hughes to his publisher, McGraw-Hill. We all know this publisher.
Yeah.
They published all of our textbooks and things.
Yeah.
You see that little red square?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
By the time the billionaire industrialist finally came forth to sue the publisher, saying that he had never met with Irving or given his approval for the project. Irving had gambled badly that the reclusive Hughes would never surface to denounce the hoax.
You really wouldn't think that the person you wrote an entire book about would come to the surface and be like, I didn't tell you to do that.
Right. By forging letters and setting up phony interviews, Irving...
For fucking real?
Yes.
Oh my God.
He convinced the publisher and several key experts that the autobiography was authentic. Yeah.
And that's why you still get in contact with the person.
Yeah, despite Hughes. Yeah. He'd also managed to obtain a copy of the manuscript about Hughes' right-hand man, which gave Irving's work its remarkable detail.
Oh my God.
This was in 1972. So after it all unraveled in 1972, Irving spent 17 months in prison. His book on the experience, The Hoax, was made into a film.
Damn.
Starring Richard Gere. He was in Pretty Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he literally made a whole book that was fake and then got almost in so much trouble for it, and then literally went to prison and then wrote a book about that. And it was called The Hoax, and then it was made into a film with Richard Gere.
That's amazing.
Or Gere, or however you want to say it.
He's been in a lot of films, yeah.
Yeah. Last one. Going back to the Holocaust.
Oh, God. Why is it always the Holocaust that people just want to fucking do some dumb shit with?
Right? Especially with all of the people who say that it's a hoax now. Yeah.
So infuriating.
It's called The Hitler Diaries.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. In 1983, German magazine Stern published excerpts for some 60 volumes of Adolf Hitler's diaries that had allegedly survived a crash near Dresden of a transport plane carrying his personal effects. The diaries spanned from 1932 to 1945 and had detail and its detail persuaded British historian and Hitler expert Hugh Trevor Roper of their authenticity. So, because of how, detailed they were, Hugh Trevor Roper was like, yeah. But Stern, the magazine, their desire for secrecy on their sensational scoop had held it back from seeking more authoritative testing. What? Comprehensive analysis revealed historical inaccuracies, shocker, in the text and inks and paper that dated after World War II.
Yeah.
The editor at Stern, who had instigated the deal, and the diary's forger were sentenced to 4.5 years of prison for duping and defrauding the magazine, which had paid the equivalent of roughly $3.5 million for the counterfeit journals.
Damn.
So, it wasn't Hugh Trevor Roper's fault. He really thought that these were
legit.
However, get them authenticated.
Yes, get them fucking... If you think it's legit, then get that shit authenticated.
Especially if it's about probably the biggest thing in history that every single person knows about.
Yeah.
There's not a single person that doesn't know about the Holocaust.
I mean, for fuck's sake. Okay. This is really, really off topic, but it's a similar concept about getting shit authenticated.
No, yeah.
Okay, so there was something recently Lord of the Rings related. So Lord of the Rings...
Oh, I think I've heard about this.
Lord of the Rings had a deck of cards, but they only made one card of the One Ring.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the rarest card in the world.
Yeah.
And there is a video of a man who was the one who got it.
Wow.
He's shaking in the video because he has it in his hand and he's like, oh my gosh, it's the most expensive thing in the world. Guess what? He still got it authenticated and it was put in this protective case and he had security on him.
Yeah.
Because people were going to kill him for it.
Oh my God.
There are people who would kill for that.
No wonder he was shaking.
And it ended up being that, of course, Post Malone is the one who purchased it from him for several $1 million.
Wow.
Several $1 million.
Wow.
And it's like, but the man knew it was the card because it was the only card in existence.
Right.
He still got it authenticated with a certificate of authenticity to go with it. So
I just think it's crazy the level of commitment you would have had to write Hitler diaries from 1932 until 1945. That is 13 years of writing that this person did. For what? For what?
For nothing.
He wasn't even the one to publish it. Like,
it's fucking wild.
Ooh, yeah. It's nuts. But all of that just to say, don't lie in your memoirs. Yeah. It can really damage some people and some views of the world.
And yourself.
You'll get fucked. Yeah. Like, it's also like nonfiction books. There are some people who write nonfiction and don't even fact check themselves. Yeah. And it's not the publisher's job to do that either.
And that's why you just stick with fiction, because then no one gives a fuck.
Right.
It's only you who has to keep the continuity together.
Right. Or do really basic, like, baby fact books. Like, things that elementary schoolers are doing. Like, the law of gravity.
Yeah, keep it simple.
That's a fact. That's a fact that everybody knows. Yeah. Things like that. Yeah. The grass is green. Yeah. That's a fact. Let me go on to some 1-star reviews.
All right, toss them at me.
There's only a couple. The first one. I've been saying from the start that Saw franchise derailed after the third part. With every installment, they brought a new character who is part of Jigsaw's team. With this concept, this franchise will keep continuing senselessly and is never going to end. That's what it feels like, yeah. It's still not over. Yeah. This part, which was deemed to be the last part of the franchise, was utter nonsense and too boring. The story and the screenplay was bad, the direction was bad, the pacing was worse, and the performances were too bad. Overall, just watch the first three parts of this franchise. That will be enough for you, and if you want more info, then read the summary for other installments. Yeah, come listen to our podcast.
And you thought this was going to be the final one, yet there's more.
Yeah, 2 and then 1 more in the making.
3. 'Cause 10.
Oh, yeah. 3 and 1 more in the making. And this was put out 14 years ago?
Yep.
This review? 14 years ago. We're still going.
Yep.
Still going.
And 11 is around the corner. I don't know what the fuck 11 is going to be like since we like 10 so much. So I don't know what the fuck's going to happen here.
Right. Just keep making ones like that and I'll be good.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And last one. Decided to rewatch all the same movies recently.
Yeah.
And have now realized why I had no desire to watch this one when it was released.
Yeah.
This is a prime example of idiots not caring about movies and just wanting to cash in other people's work.
You're not wrong.
Very fair. I feel like every time they've changed directors, like the director's just in it to like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for a long time we had Boseman.
Yeah, Boseman, like, I feel like Boseman was fine, but like, and other than James Wan and Lee Whannell, like...
Yeah. Which are the originators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The original was outstanding for a low-budget gore-fest horror movie.
Yeah.
The story, the acting, the detail was all worthy of the recognition it received. The follow-ups were obviously never going to beat it, other than 10, but you didn't know that they existed. So, But it held true to the original idea, even though the odd part was a stretch. Jigsaw 3D, however, needs to be stricken from the archives. It is not a Saw film by any means. Okay. The story is garbage. The flashbacks were not from the originals. The acting was low-key. For me, it failed on every level. Even the games were appalling. I believe the idiots behind this should apologize to all the fans for this cash-in rubbish. If you want to watch a tacky horror, then this is good on that front. The only positive is the clever twist at the end.
Yeah. You mean the twist that is the only reason it could be labeled higher on my list of why I would like the film?
Yeah. I don't think they need to apologize for it. I think it is a Saw film.
Yeah, it is a Saw film.
But I would definitely agree that, to me, Gibson was a really bad actor. The guy who played Gibson. The way his line delivery, but...
It just wasn't good.
There were line deliveries in here that were so laughable.
Yeah.
Especially when he's talking to Jill Tuck and he's like, you didn't tell me that you tried to kill him. And I was just like, okay, dude.
Chill out.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
And even Hoffman, there's no acting done. He keeps a straight face the entire time and just walks around like he's Slender Man.
For real.
Like, dude.
He acts like this hulky...
macho man.
Like, I'm gonna kill everybody, but you're not very interesting.
No.
I am not compelled to like you.
No, not in the slightest. He has no redeemable qualities.
No.
You don't like him at all. You kind of just want him to die from the minute he gets there, and he's in like 5 films.
I like Amanda more than him.
Oh, I love Amanda. She's hot and sexy.
Because she's, well, you have a very different vibe towards that.
I'm kidding. Hey. Obviously, she is hot and sexy, but that's not why I like her. Like, she genuinely is just like...
Like, she actually gives a shit. She cares for John.
You can tell she's deeply troubled as well. And, like, you kind of are rooting for her. Like, you hope that she gets over it, but it ends up being her downfall. Yeah. But then I end up kind of being like, meh, when I find out she was with Cecil and, like, wasn't it on killing Jill's and John's baby.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like she was part of the cause as to how it happened.
And then you feel like, oh, well.
There was a betrayal.
There's a betrayal, and like John was closer the entire time and like didn't even know.
Yeah.
So.
Which is heartbreaking. The fact that he didn't know.
All right. Well, a lot to unpack there.
Oh, yeah. And we have our 5th and final episode for the Saw series.
You guys are probably like, thank God.
Yeah, we were all saying it. Yeah, thank God.
I think this is the only and the last time we will be doing a 5-part series.
Yeah.
Personally, that's how I feel.
We'll see.
We shall see.
We shall
see.
But
right now, that's how I'm feeling.
Right now, also, it's because we are doing the year of franchises, so it's a very different
We're not going to have
situation.
any more that are a whole month long.
Well, we do, technically.
Not 5-parters.
No. They're more like 3-parters or 4 at most. I know we have Halloween. That's like a 3-parter, I think.
I don't think we have anything that goes past 3 anymore.
Not that I'm aware of, no. It just worked out there were 5 Fridays in this month.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. There's 10 movies. Let's go for it.
I'm so over it. Like, when we finish filming...
It's going to be so nice to do the next movies.
Yes. I'm going to be like, wow.
This next month is going to be so nice because it's going to be 3 sets of different movies. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yep.
So like, comment, and subscribe, and send us an email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. Follow us at Instagram and Twitter at horrorunmasked. listen on Spotify, iTunes at Horror Unmasked Podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And I think with that,
There's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
or will you fear not?